Now 9 o'clock, and I'm going to ask if we'll stand for invocation and pledge. And it's my honor to introduce Les McIntosh, pastor of Impact, to present the invocation this morning.
With every head bowed, to the only wise God, our Father, out of reverence of your omnipotent and omnipresent power, today we recognize and reach out to you for guidance. God, we ask and allow you to grant us the access to your wisdom that will give us the prudent, practical principles to position and propel this county to be a place of peace, progress, protection, and prosperity. God, we ask that you grant this body the needed foresight, knowledge, and insight of the past, future, and present to discern, decide, and delegate the county in its righteous direction. Develop each city and municipality within this county collectively to cover, respect, and support this body of commissioners whose sober, conscious resolve has been voted upon to achieve the wealth of us individually and collectively. God, we ask that you impart the peaceful collaboration of government policies and programs, that it coincides and collides with the views and the voices of those citizens' participation with resolution, so that the passion of both is achieved with proper perspective and common goal. And in this we pray for the life and health and well-being of every family, every mayor, every city administrator, every city council, every county board of commissioners and staff of this county, and each citizen represented in Washington County. In the name of your son, Jesus, we pray. Amen and amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor McIntosh. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and we'll now call the meeting officially to order. And first up is the approval of the minutes from July the 15th.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a second.
I must abstain. I wasn't present.
Okay, second. Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
One abstention, 4-1. Thank you. Next up is commissioners' reports and comments. And Commissioner Wagner, you want to go first?
Yeah, good morning. I wanted to start off by thanking our staff that set up the booths in Mako and all the hard work they did there for a few days. I wanted to thank them for that, and you know, it was a lot of preparation for that. And also want to thank Soil Conservation. They hosted an open house on their anniversary date. What, I forget what year, how many year, 80?
85.
85, yeah. I wanted to thank them for hosting that. And I was able to also attend the PIA graduation out at the airport. They graduated 25 or 26 students. It's a great program. Those students all have jobs. They're either in negotiation for jobs, or a lot of them have already have jobs in the aviation industry. So it's a good program out there, and I wanted to thank them for all they do. That's all for me.
Thank you. Randy Letterman.
Thank you. Thanks, John. So here we are, August 26, 2025, and it's day number 2 for Washington County Public Schools. I would encourage the public to be especially cautious around our stop school buses. It's always a concern. Some of these children, first time they've participated in school, so please be patient with them and the bus drivers. I would like to offer congratulations to the students, to the faculty, and to their parents, and certainly wish them a successful school year. Finally, with regards to Washington County Public Schools, they just relaunched their website, and it's very user-friendly. I would encourage you to check it out, wcpsmd.com. So that's all I've got.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Harvey.
Thank you, President Barr. There's been a lot of activity. Just a couple of the highlights. You know, the August Oktoberfest event went off really well at the Agricultural Center. It was very well attended, and that depends tremendously on volunteers. And that's one thing we do have in this county, is a tremendous amount of volunteer activity to make our community a better place. The C&O Canal Days was a success also. And then the National Night Out, which was earlier this month. I know all of us attended a number of the events, whether it was for me, it was Smithsburg and Hancock, but they were in Boonesboro and Williamsport and Clear Spring and other places. So, and then the Volunteer Fire Association met, and there was, again, thanks to all of our volunteer firefighters and EMS, because, they're making an important contribution. Even though they are tasked a lot, the demands are going up, and, really appreciate what they do. And they have a monthly meeting, and I know most of us try to get there and keep up with what's going on there. I'd also make a comment about the schools, and the schools opening up, as Randy pointed out, very important. We wish them a productive and rewarding year. Special thanks to the cafeteria workers, the janitors, the bus drivers, who really make things work. They're the unsung heroes. Teachers and administrative staff, they have a big year ahead of them. Hope the kids have a great year. Parents, hope it goes well. Williamsport, though, I'd like to call out. They're challenged because they're having to do school remotely initially this year. And then the school board, the superintendent, and the town of Williamsport have rallied around the community there to make that situation that's adverse, to flip it into a rallying point for the community. So although it's an unfortunate circumstance with the asbestos contamination there, we hope it's a rallying point and the school year goes on without a hitch. And we wish a great year, especially for them as they overcome that challenge. Lastly, I'd just like to, talk to another issue, and that's Freedom of Information Act requests. And, to my knowledge, County Attorney, I guess I can ask you, we have not had any violations of the Freedom of Information Act request, correct?
That's correct. There have been no adverse decisions relating to the production or withholding of requested documents.
But we have had a couple of disputes maybe on the deposits that we've requested.
There was one compliance board decision that reduced the amount of the deposit that the county could request, yes.
Now, when someone's asking for access and for information, quite often there's a cost, and quite often that can be a burdensome cost. If you're having to go through boxes and boxes, a dozen boxes with 15,000 paper documents in them, that's quite a task. It takes a lot of time, staff time to do that. To say nothing about reviews and any redactions that might take place. And there's lots of different circumstances, but what you're doing is following the law and the regulations pertaining to redactions and costs. And quite often what I see is maybe we're not identifying all the costs associated with it, but you guys are doing a good job and appreciate that. And if there's a clarifying point on that you'd like to make, I'd appreciate it right now.
No, that pretty much sums up where we are with the PIA and the production of documents. Is we do our best to answer those requests, and they come in daily.
Okay, thank you very much. And with that, I close. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harvey. Mr. Vice President Klein.
Good morning, everyone. Some of the events were mentioned, but I do want to repeat thank you to our staff who attended MACO and represented us well down there in Ocean City at the convention. I also stopped by Soil Conservation. Dee Price is instrumental in working with county government and having projects move forward. PIA graduation, probably the 10th or 15th one I attended. I think there was over 20-some students, over 100-some people. As Commissioner Wagner mentioned, many of them have already jobs lined up to move forward. And on a special note, PIA is now inside our schools recruiting our graduates to go straight to that 16-month class. So thanks to PIA. And of course, I also attended August-Toberfest, and I went to Boonesboro for the National Night Out. And Boonesboro is famous for the water tower and the kids, hundreds of kids running around in swimsuits getting soaking wet. And it was a good time had ball. So thank you to everybody organized National Night Out. And there were numerous community events like Crumpy's 5K run. Mr. Crumpy said they've donated over $150,000 now to the Wounded Warrior Project since the beginning of that 5K. The annual Peach Festival was held, well attended, and if you try to get out there Saturday morning after 10 o'clock, you had a long line to get in. Of course, the famous C&O Canal Days Festival was there, and it's a big tradition. It's like a homecoming week for everybody who ever went to Williamsport to walk that park and run into old friends. And I also attended several of the fire company events, including their picnic, annual picnic. And it was great to be on a social setting with many of our firefighters and seeing the families and the things that they sacrifice when that alarm rings, that they're on that fire truck. They're right there defending us at all times of the day and night, leaving their families behind. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. Good morning, everyone. Again, I'd like to thank my good friend, Pastor Les McIntosh, for being here this morning, and appreciate all your insight and direction that you guide me through on many occasions. Not to show off, but I did hang my badge here from Mako. I spent 4.5 days at the Mako Summer Convention. As many know, I'm back on the board of directors at Mako. We had 3 meetings, sit-down meetings with the governor. We talked about affordable housing. We talked about homelessness and a number of other key issues that's not just germane to any particular jurisdiction or county, but statewide. And I expressed to Governor Moore personally that, you know, I feel sometimes we're uniquely challenged because they impose all these rules and regulations in Annapolis, and we're here in that little skinny part of Maryland, and it makes it a real challenge many days for us with both affordable housing and economic development opportunities. In my opinion, it was one of the best Mako conferences ever. They broke a record attendance again this year, approximately 300 exhibitors, anywhere from playground equipment to government services. There was over 3,000 attendees. And again, we've mentioned it several times here this morning, but Washington County knocks it out of the ballpark each and every year with our Washington County booth, I guess you call it. We take a double booth, and this year it was uniquely addressed towards our 250th anniversary in preparation for next year. On Thursday afternoon, they have what's called a Taste of the Counties. Washington County was an absolute knock it out of the park hit with the corn chowder and some other items that there was over 1,000, I think, of each one of the food participants, and it was a lot of eyes on Washington County for those 4 days. So again, thanks to staff. I'd like to start mentioning names, but I'll get myself in trouble if I do. So just from the highways departments to PR department to, I guess, HR, county administrator, the list goes on of the folks that helped set the booth up, tear it down, and operate it for 3 days. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I also attended the soil conservation event, thanks to Dee Price and her hardworking staff down there, and what agriculture means and soil conservation means to all of us and the county. So one thing I think we all kind of forgot, did anybody mention the Peach Fest in Leitersburg?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. That was another huge success, good weather. My understanding is it was quite the turnout, and I don't know how many servings of peach pie and ice cream, but I'm sure it was significant. So thanks to all those folks in Leitersburg that do that annual event. It's a lot of work and a lot of preparation. One of the things, I'll skip back to the Mako conference, one of the things that was a highlight specifically for Washington County, the Secretary of Transportation and their entourage, both locally and statewide. We had Michelle, about 45 minutes, I guess, with them, one-on-one as a county and a state highway. Of course, we talked about 81, we talked about the Route 11 bridge, we talked about the 522 bridge, and, you know, short and long-range concerns that we have. We also talked about progression of the closure of the Conicajig Bridge over there at the Hagerstown Speedway and what that impact's having, and the alternative routes and that sort of thing. So she, I will say, Linda, what's Linda's last name? Anyway, Poffenberger. Linda Poffenberger was real quick to say, and I want to say this publicly because there's rumors flying all through the community about how long the bridge is going to be closed and this and that. And she looked right at me and she said, Commissioner, there's very strong incentives that bridge will be 14 months and it will be open for the school year of 26, 27. And she made that very clear. So I hope that all comes to fruition because it does make it difficult. So with that, I think, I'm sure there's other things, but with that, I'll move right into staff comments. And first up, we got something special from Brandy Kentner.
Good morning, Brandy Kentner, Director of Purchasing. This morning, I wanted to give recognition to a valuable asset to the purchasing department, and that would be Karen Baker. Early this year, she completed all of her requirements that would allow her to sit for her Certified Professional Public Buyer designation from the Universal Procurement Council. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication. She sat for the test in May and she did pass. So in order to take the test, you have to have a formal education, 72 credit hours related to procurement, and 3 active years in the field of procurement. I can say from personal experience, it is not an easy test. A lot goes into it. So I wanted to take a minute today, and her family is here, and the staff is here, and I wanted to have her come up, and John and I.
Yes, we have,
understand you have
yep,
something
we
for
do.
her?
We have a certificate of recognition.
She's got a bum wheel today, so she might be able to see.
Randy, yeah, Karen, would you like to make comments first?
Oh, gosh. I'm very surprised. I didn't know.
She had no clue. It's a lot of work. She put a lot of time into this, and
Well, congratulations on this. We really are proud.
You go up here and do it up front, and then the family can come to pictures. It's my honor to present this certificate of recognition presented to Karen Baker. The Board of County Commissioners of Washington County would like to recognize Karen Baker on her recent achievement of earning her key Certified Professional Public Buyer Certificate, CPPB, all while working full-time with Washington County government. We thank you for your service and dedication to the citizens of Washington County. Congratulations, Karen. Signed by all 5 of the county commissioners.
Thank you so much.
Okay, commissioners, we'll get with all the commissioners and
Thank you. Thank you.
Katie, would you take a picture of her family?
yeah, yeah.
No, I don't work in the department.
Thank you.
Okay, next under staff comments, County Administrator Michelle Gordon.
Thank you. It's been a very busy month. I did attend Maryland Theater Board meetings as well as several other community events and meetings with some of our community partners. We did have a tour of our transit facility. As you know, we recently received a $2.8 million grant passing through the state for design of our facility expansion project, and representatives from MDOT came out to take a tour of our transit facility here in Hagerstown. Did attend 2 funerals and celebrations of life, one for Darius Hutzel as well as Derek Bish, and I would like to again extend condolences to both families. I attended the Mako County Conference in Ocean City. I'd like to thank our staff in Business and Economic Development as well as Public Relations for the incredible job that they did with our booth as well as presenting information related to our county. While at Mako, I attended the county administrators meeting. I also attended the MDOT meeting with officials from MDOT. Some of the transportation priorities that we discussed included Interstate 81. We are asking them to support continued funding of Phase 2, which has been split into 2 phases, Phase 2A and Phase 2B. Phase 2A will take Interstate 81 from the Lappins Road exit to the CSX Railroad Crossing, and then Phase 2B will take it from the railroad crossing to beyond Halfway Boulevard. They are working through some stormwater issues with CSX Railroad, and they believe that cutting it into 2 subphases will ensure that the project moves forward timely and doesn't see any delays. We also asked them to ensure that they continue to support I-81 Phase 3 funding for Phase 3 construction and design, for design and right-of-way for that. Other transportation priorities included I-70 interchanges, funding for air traffic control tower, continued funding for our transit facility expansion for the next phase of that, which would be construction. We asked them to take a look at their prioritization criteria that they use for the Consolidated Transportation Plan. We believe that there is a need for them to develop a system to evaluate and prioritize transportation projects in the CTP that takes into account regional differences when they are setting or establishing that criteria. The one-size-fits-all method that they're currently using, in our opinion, unintentionally disadvantages projects in rural or less densely populated areas such as Washington County and Western Maryland. While at Mako, I also met with Senator April Delaney to discuss funding priorities here in the county. Many of the sessions that I attended focused on federal and state funding shifts and cuts. We also discussed funding and implementation, as well as reporting issues surrounding the blueprint for Maryland's future for education. Many of the tech discussions surrounded the need for reliable power sources in Maryland, affordable housing, as well as the surge in artificial intelligence in the United States and the potential need for preemption to protect citizens as well as the government. And lastly, local government energy management grants to help offset implementation costs related to renewable energy upgrades and energy efficiency upgrades, as well as electrification updates. I do have 2 findings that we recently received for OMA opinions. The first is 19 official opinions of the Compliance Board 214 for 2025. We received this on August the 1st of 2025. The complainant alleges that the Washington County Board of County Commissioners violated the Open Meetings Act by not allowing individuals to record themselves with cameras set up on tripods and left unattended while the individuals gave public comments at county board meetings, and the board required someone to stand by those cameras. They found no violation of the act. The complainant alleged that the county board violated the act by not allowing the member of the public to set up a camera and record themselves. He asserted that the requiring of an extra person to stand by the camera while they spoke was illegal under the act. The Compliance Board found that among the duties of a public body is to adopt and enforce reasonable rules regarding the conduct of persons attending its meetings and videotaping, televising and photographing, broadcasting and recording of its meetings. A rule restricting videotaping or other similar activities is reasonable only if it satisfies two criteria. The first being that the rule is needed to protect the legitimate rights of others at the meeting, and two, the rule does so by means that are consistent with the goals of the act. Others have recognized that the health, safety, and security concerns of unattended items on public property, which could, for example, contain explosive devices. We think the general policy against unattended items fits within the category of security measures and protects the public's legitimate right to safety at government meetings. The complainant asserts that the policy requires someone who wishes to speak at the meeting to bring an extra person to stand by the camera. We note as a preliminary matter that the act does not grant members of the public the right to participate in a meeting, only to observe. Regardless, as we understand, the policy does not preclude a person from holding a camera and recording the proceedings while the person addresses the body. And requiring a person to move the camera closer to the speaker or have someone else stand by the camera does not, in their view, conflict with the goals of the act. We thus conclude that the restriction here against unattended cameras does not violate the act. The second OMA finding is from July the 31st of 2025, 19 official opinions of the Compliance Board 210 from 2025. The complainant alleges that the Board of County Commissioners violated the Open Meetings Act by cutting off an individual's remarks during the public comment period at a board meeting and having the individual removed from the meeting and arrested. The complainant further asserts that a member of the county board assaulted a second individual for videotaping the arrest. The county board responds that the presiding officer properly cut off the first individual who was not addressing county business, and the board lawfully removed the individual when he refused to cease what that body describes as irrelevant, slanderous, and incredibly disruptive personal attacks against the board's president. As for the alleged assault on the second individual, the county board asserts that it is well outside the bounds of the Open Meetings Act. First, as to the cutting off of public comments, we have repeatedly said that the public body's handling of public comments is simply not within the Act's ambit. Although members of the public have a right to observe meetings, the Act does not afford the public the right to participate in meetings. We thus find no violation of the Act with respect to the county board cutting off the remarks of the public commenter on the June 3rd meeting. Second, as to the removal of this individual, the Act states that if the presiding officer determines that the behavior of an individual is disrupting an open session, the public body may have the individual removed. We have said that the Act's removal language strikes a balance between, on the one hand, the public's right to observe public business and, on the other hand, a public body's right to conduct business free of disruption by members of the public. We have also recognized that a public body has unquestioned power to prohibit any disturbance at its meetings. Based on the facts before us, we cannot conclude that the presiding officer erred in determining that the public commenter was disrupting in an open session. Despite several warnings that his comments were not pertinent to county business, the individual continued to speak on the matter. We thus conclude that the county board was entitled to have the individual removed from the meeting under Section 3-303C. As to the matter of the individual being arrested, we find no violation of the Act. The complainant also alleges that a member of the council assaulted a member of the public who was videotaping the arrest of the public commenter. We decline to consider this allegation. The act applies only to public bodies, not to individuals. The Compliance Board has no jurisdiction with regard to a complaint about an individual member of a public body. Therefore, with regard to this complaint, we find no violation of the act. Our next meeting is scheduled for September the 9th. It will start later that day due to a prior commitment earlier that morning, and that's everything that I have.
Okay, thank you. Any other staff comments? Hearing none, we'll move along with our public hearing under tab number 1. Next on the agenda is a public hearing concerning the consideration of requests by organizations to be added to the list of nonprofit organizations to which the Board of County Commissioners may contribute funds pursuant to Section 1-108 of the Code of Public Local Laws of Washington County, Maryland. The purpose of this hearing is to hear public testimony concerning the matter. The procedure is as follows. We will first have staff introduce the matter, after which the hearing will be open for public comment and testimony. Each speaker will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to testify. Testimony that is not relevant to the subject matter of the public hearing or that is repetitive, disruptive, disturbing, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the public hearing will not be tolerated. Unauthorized remarks, loud noises, whistles, yells, or similar disruptions from the gallery shall not be permitted. Anyone who fails to follow these rules forfeits their opportunity to testify and will be asked to return to their seat or leave the meeting room as deemed appropriate by the board. After everyone who wishes to speak has done so, the hearing will close. There shall be no donating or pooling of time to allow any one person to speak longer than 3 minutes. The commissioners may then discuss the issue and provide direction to staff. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Zachary Kiefer, County Attorney, who will now introduce the matter.
Thank you, President Barr. Section 1-108 of the Washington County Code of Public Local Laws authorizes the commissioners to contribute annually to nonprofit organizations in Washington County. The county maintains a list of nonprofit organizations eligible for said funding, which we refer to as the 1-108 list. The county commissioners may add organizations to the 1-108 list upon application by a qualified organization. Applications shall be made on or before the first day of August preceding the fiscal year in which the organization plans to request funding. The Code of Public Local Laws requires the county commissioners to hold a public hearing on the application. This year's applicants are listed in the agenda report form and are as follows. Shield for All Seasons, Inc., Senior Services Network, Inc., Mount Etna Volunteer Fire Department, Mediation First, Inc., Legal Aid Bureau, Inc., DBA Maryland Legal Aid, Good News Hagerstown, Inc., Global Vision Christian School Broadfording, First Hose Fire Company of Boonesboro, Fierce Cheer Sponsors, Inc., Congregation Benai Abraham, Cebus Mission, and the Boonesboro Town Alliance. Placement on the 1-108 list confirms eligibility for funding but does not guarantee an award of funding to the organizations. Application requirements are minimal. They include written request along with confirmation of 501c status from the IRS and confirmation of good standing status of the entity with the state of Maryland. That's all I have.
Okay. With that, then we'll open it up for citizens' participation. First sign-in is Curtis Ray, Hagerstown, Maryland.
I'm going to call this bill the I hate this bill speech. I hate this bill just as much as I hated when you all arrested me and cut the live feed from the YouTube to hide your shame like the cowards I know you ought to be. I hate this bill just as much as I hated when you took away public comment. And all of your stances is that it's not legally required, thus you remove it. Can you give me like 15 seconds? They had to alter the microphone. All All right.
Mr. Ray, let me remind you, that you need to be germane to this topic.
Yes, I am referencing comparisons to how much I hate this bill, just to make sure that I'm not
It's not a bill.
speaking outside
It's
of
not a
it.
bill.
That's speaking outside.
Well, I'm quite literally saying I hate this bill just as much as I hated. Like, I'm referencing the bill, making sure that I am. I'm 100% certain on that. If you believe I am not, then you can say what you will. But as stated, I am 100% sure I am reading this verbatim right here on my paper, that I hate this bill. And I'm giving reasons why I hate it. I hate this bill just as much as I hated when you trespassed me for asking for a higher investigatory body.
It's off topic.
Point of order, this is not a bill, and
It's,
the comments are not apparently germane to the specific criteria of the bill that you're calling it a bill. This motion, this public hearing about putting an additional set of groups on there.
I can rephrase it. I hate this public hearing
Mr. Ray,
activity.
I'm going to call it out of order. I'm going to ask you to please sit down or leave. Your comments are irrelevant to the topic at hand. This is solely a chance for citizens to participate in whether these
So if I said I
organizations
like
get added
this,
to the list or not. Not talking about any other procedures.
I am disclosing how much I am not in favor of this
You've made
public
that-
hearing bill. If you believe
You've made that clear. We've got your message. I'm going to ask you once again to please stop, please leave.
I would like to finish my speech.
No.
It
I'm in-
falls into the
as the
category-
Excuse me, as the presiding officer, I'm in charge of this meeting, and I'm saying your time is finished. We've heard your message. Please sit down and/or leave.
Are you trespassing me?
No, I'm not trespassing.
Then I would like to finish my speech.
No. I've already told you 3 times, no. I'm done.
Yeah, but I
Please
have
sit
my
down.
speech, and I
If
am
you don't,
referencing-
if you don't stop, I will call for this order and clear this room till I get order, and you will deal with the deputies.
Why are you so against free speech? What's up with that?
Recess.
Like,
Clear the
why are
room.
you
I'm sorry, ladies
so
and gentlemen.
against-
I'm not going to keep dealing with this.
I don't understand.
Sit
I'm
down.
pleased to like to keep speaking.
No.
We can do,
The
please.
presiding officer is saying you're done.
Thank you. Unless you're trespassing me.
I'm not. Mr. President Barr is not. He's asking you to sit down. Your time for citizens participation is over.
He's being
I've
disruptive
called the
now.
meeting back to order, and I've asked you once again to please sit down. Your time is up.
I still have 144 seconds.
I'm not going to argue.
That's fine.
If you don't sit down, you will be.
Call Sean Porter.
You're continuing to disrupt the meeting. You need to please take a seat.
If you all think I'm being disruptive for asking people to speak.
Okay, and I would call the next speaker, Mr. Sean Porter. You may come forward.
So what I don't understand is that you all are trying to just gloss over the fact.
He's my co-speaker.
That you
We're
all
gonna talk.
There's,
If
you need,
Blue lights are-
John, you need to trespass Curtis Ray at this point.
Trespass me then.
He's my co-speaker.
If you
There's
think
no
what
sharing of
I'm
time.
doing is wrong,
There's no sharing of time. I already read that. Okay?
So what are you doing?
You may want to take your seat too.
if you're going to trespass people for speaking, then stand by it.
As presiding officer of this board, I'm trespassing you.
There you go. You're a fucking coward. You hate free speech. You're a dickhead. Fuck you.
Don't respond.
Sorry for wasting your
Huh?
I said, Mr. Porter.
Are we done arresting citizens for
Let
free?
me remind you
What?
the rules of order here.
What rules?
I read them. You heard them.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Could you read them again?
Yeah.
Please start his time. Please start his time.
Okay, well, if you're starting my time, I don't want to listen to John yammer on about rules that he made up that are unconstitutional. I would like to speak about nonprofits getting government money. So I want to talk about the Clinton Global Initiative, Jim and Tammy Faye Baker. There's a lot of nonprofit frauds out there. I think there's one in Hagerstown called Hager 5 LLC. So you got all these fraudulent organizations trying to get taxpayer dollars to give kickbacks to politicians. So every single time I see a politician trying to give money to a not-for-profit, the first thing I think is, how much did they donate to that person's campaign? None of this stuff was disclosed to the public. Does anyone have any campaign finance documentation to prove that these guys aren't paying off Derek Harvey, John Barr, Jeff Klein, or anyone else that's in a power position here in the county? Because you guys haven't disclosed. Can you guys tell us, is any of our tax dollars that are going to these not-for-profits going to be given back to politicians in the form of campaign donations? Does anyone have that data? I can't support such a thing. Like the Clinton Global Initiative, 95 cents on the dollar went to Hillary Clinton flying on jet planes and Bill Clinton flying to Epstein Island. So why would we want to give taxpayer dollars to a not-for-profit that's not being overseen by the citizens? We have no recourse against a not-for-profit. All we have is recourse against politicians we can choose to vote out of office, like John Barr, Jeff Klein, and Derek Harvey. So basically, you've disclosed nothing about these organizations, but you want us to give approval for taxpayer dollars to go to these not-for-profits that are just basically slush funds for people like Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. So no, I don't want my tax dollars going to Bill and Hillary Clinton to fly to Epstein Island and take John Barr with them. I don't think that any taxpayer dollars from Washington County should go to organizations that we can't oversee, that hobnob and hang out with politicians and may possibly be giving them kickbacks in the form of campaign contributions to help get them reelected, like John Barr, Jeff Klein, and Derek Harvey. So anyway, I'm going to finish up early. That's all I have to say is we shouldn't give money to nonprofits. We should spend the money. We should have oversight. The citizens should be able to see where our money's going, not give it to some entity that can then funnel it to corrupt politicians like Derek Harvey, Jeff Klein, and John Barr. Thank you for your time.
Next up is Michael Armel.
Good morning, and thank you for this opportunity to briefly address our request that Congregation B'nai Abraham be added to the county's list of nonprofits who are eligible to receive county funds. I'm Mike Armel. I'm the president of Congregation B'nai Abraham, and our congregation is proud of the role we play in support of our community's endeavors. Congregation B'nai Abraham is known for supporting Potter's Bowl Community Free Clinic, Thanksgiving baskets and meals, Fester Community of Hope, the Reach Cold Weather Shelter, holiday gift wrapping for the Red Cross and now for the United Way, book drives for students in Washington County, food drives for local food banks, Thomas Kennedy Center, other educational endeavors for students, and other opportunities to help our neighbors, and for entertaining and educational presentations at our facilities. I want to make you aware of one interesting fundraiser that goes back a ways in time. And it was initiated by a community friend from Congregation B'nai Abraham. Perhaps you know this nice lady who over the years has volunteered for many endeavors. Her name is Carol Mendelson. When the Community Free Clinic first opened on West Franklin Street, she volunteered. And after a short while, she was placed on the board. There came a time when the administrator advised that in another month or so, they may have to close for budgetary reasons. Carol spoke up, insisting that they not plan on closing, and she would find a way to raise the money. So she contacted her friends who were potters and got donations of potter's bowls. Congregation B'nai Abraham hosted the first series of potter's bowls events in our social hall, and with a variety of soups cooked in our meager kitchen, along with other tasty items. We were supported by volunteers of Trinity Lutheran Church, and when the need arose, the Potter's Bowl moved to their fellowship hall. The next move was to First Christian Church, and is now at the Elks Club. And volunteers from Congregation B'nai Abraham and the other congregations and from the staff of the Community Free Clinic continue to make this event a success and a great benefit to the county. So thank you for letting me share this story, and good day.
Thank you, Mr. Ormel. Next up is Ron Humble.
Good morning. My name is Ron Humble. I'm the current president of the Boonesboro Town Alliance. Give you a little background. So our goal of the BTA is to preserve and elevate Boonesboro's charm by fostering connections among residents, community organizations, and businesses through town-wide events and activities. Additionally, we aim to attract visitors to experience all the town has to offer. I believe it's important when you have a board that you all know who composes our board. And I'd like to introduce some of them. So our vice president is Dana Healy. She's a longtime resident of Boonesboro, and she owns Josie's on Main and has for over 10 years. So she's committed to our community. Our treasurer is Marie Oyster. She's the current branch manager for Fulton Bank on the Dole Highway. Our secretary is Corinne Glatz. She's a resident of Boonesboro and works in one of the businesses and has for some time in Boonesboro. Our liaison to the Economic Development Commission of Boonesboro, which many of us are also members, I, as well as Natoma Vargason, who is our liaison, and she is the manager of the gifts in Boonesboro. Other board members we have are Nate Kraft, who's a resident Boonesboro community, and he owns Pathfinder Farms Distillery. Kurt Conway, also a resident, and he is our liaison to our nonprofits, which is the American Legion, for instance. And then also Rhea Yeri, who's a resident and owns Talon Studio. What we trying to do at the Boonesboro Town Alliance is create and foster partnerships amongst other organizations in the community. So it's between residents, businesses, other nonprofits, and faith-based organizations. And as an example of that, we have our Food Truck Festival, which we inherited from the Economic Development Commission. That's this Sunday. So during that event, we have the Boy Scouts who provide parking. They raise money for themselves through parking. We have Trinity Lutheran Church who stakes a role, and they are fostering with family activities during the event. So that's one event that's an annual event for us. And we're in our 5th year this year. Other ones that we are just creating are one called Bites and Bevs in the borough. That's fostering businesses in the community with local distilleries, breweries, and wineries to bring in visitors and tourism into the town. What we assist with, there is a Christmas angel, if you all are familiar with it. It's schools or churches where you have angels on Christmas trees and you take, oh, is that my time?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's
I had
quite
to
all right.
hold strong to the 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So if you have written comments you want to submit to us,
Okay.
is that?
Yeah,
you might
that's
wanna
fine.
That's fine.
Leave it with us.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Humble. Next is Denise Cintron.
Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. Good morning to the public. And thank you, officers, for being here. My name is Denise Cintron. I'm the executive director of the nonprofit called Cibus Mission. Cibus is Latin for sustenance. We believe in sustenance for all. We got our 501c3 at the end of November in 2023, and for 2024, we were able to give out over 18,000 food items, over 5,000 hygiene items. We were filling blessing boxes, providing monthly meals. We are launching a youth urban farm and bike repair program soon. And we have been helping people over the summer by giving out free water and free food. I just want to share one of those stories with you guys today. This man that came at the beginning of the summer, he was very scruffy looking, and he just asked, he rang the doorbell and asked for some water, and we gave him water, food, and we did have a couple of clothes items that what he was able to use, and some hygiene items as well. And recently he came back about 2 weeks ago, and he said that he finally landed a job unloading and loading at a distribution center. And what we're gonna be doing is going to get some shoes for him, some work shoes, so that he can work properly and safely. These are the kind of programs that we do at Cibus Mission. We want to not only help people with tools, with energy for food, and to be able to have the knowledge, to be able to go out and do and work and provide and have a better community that way. And to what the public was saying, we are 100% volunteer run. We haven't gotten anything. We just work with a lot of different partners and organizations and corporations, and we talk to a lot of different people, and we tell them what we're doing, what we're working on, our passion. And with that, they've been helpful. People come over and say, let me help you guys, let me give to you. And we've been working with other nonprofits, because I don't think only one nonprofit is enough, especially in this area. I learned that 25% of the population in Hagerstown is 18 and under. I learned that this area has one of the highest poverty rates. I think it's even higher than Baltimore with 24%. And I moved here during the pandemic and was shocked with this. And instead of just standing on the sidelines, we decided to create this nonprofit to help the community out and make it a little better. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next up is, I think it's Sandrine Mabaya. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is Sandrine Mabaya. I am the founder and the CEO of SHIELD for All Seasons. SHIELD for All Seasons was created on February 18, 2020. And our mission is really to impact the lives of the most vulnerable people with a focus on children and youth, boys and girls. I created this NGO because myself, I come from a vulnerable family. I moved to the United States in 1998. I was given the opportunity to study. I have 2 master's degrees, and also to work in the humanitarian sector. I have more than 20 years of professional experience in the humanitarian sector. Recently, my kids, they go to my first one. I'm a mother of 3 kids. My first one is 17 years old. She was telling me about the anxiety and the mental health issues at school. I was shocked and surprised. And my daughter, she just went back to school yesterday. She was like, "Mommy, I'm very anxious and I feel depressed going back to school. I don't know exactly what to expect." So I think for me, the strategy for Shield for All Season for the 3 years is really to focus on mental health issues. I believe mental health matters. So the goal is to ensure that children, youth, understand and recognize the impact of trauma, as well as depression and anxiety, and any mental health disorders that they may experience, even like to be exposed at school, any facilities. So the goal is to really create or even plan some events. The events will focus on raising awareness by providing children and youth under a health professional supervision a platform where they can discuss freely issues related to mental health, to depression and anxiety. So a storytelling workshop is actually what we are planning to do, where they really have a platform to discuss these issues. I'm saying my daughter is 10 years old, but knowing that they can also be exposed to depression, mental health issues, I think it's critical as parents, even as professionals, to really talk about these issues because mental health matters. Really, Shield for All Season rely on private donations. Myself, I am really funding few activities here and there when I can. The recent activities that we've been really doing was to do community outreach, to speak about issues, as I say, mental health, but also there's a lot of homeless people in Washington County. I've been providing food to the homeless.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Sean Bauer.
I had some flyers. They said I could bring them in.
No, thank you. She'll take them back there for you.
Good morning. My name is Sean Bauer with Good News Hagerstown Incorporated. We are a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to uplifting Hagerstown and Washington County through beautification, youth empowerment, and meeting overlooked needs. You've likely seen our work downtown, and there's pictures in that I sent it. Our nonprofit maintains 11 large flower planters along Franklin Street and other sites, bringing color and pride back to our city. Beyond beautification, we address the human side of community needs. We distribute brand new Nike sneakers and hoodies to middle school and high school students, directly preventing bullying and helping kids feel included. We provide snacks and food for teens who fall outside the other programs, and we support low-income girls and families with essentials like cultural hair products, bras, and hygiene items. A local resident recently shared, actually 2 days ago, stopped me on the street and told me about the planters and said that for people like me who suffer from anxiety, being away from nature is traumatizing, and living in the city can be crippling to our mental health. But looking out of my window every day at the flowers, so beautifully manicured and full of life, reminds me that I am still growing and can also thrive in a somewhat tumultuous environment. These plants saved my life, and I urge you to offer your full support to Good News Hagerstown. She wrote that in her Google page after she talked to me. She said the same thing. This kind of impact recognition allows us to multiply. Recognition by Washington County will enable us to apply for local and state grants to sustain and expand our efforts. On behalf of our community, we thank you for considering our request to join the list of recognized nonprofits. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Cassandra Clemens.
Good morning. My name is Cassie Clements, and I'm a staff attorney at Maryland Legal Aid's Midwestern office. Though our office is based in Frederick, we do serve Washington County and Hagerstown. Our services are wide-reaching. They include housing, public benefits, consumer debt, criminal record expungement, nursing home discharges, divorce, custody, and for our more senior clients, we also offer simple wills, advanced directives, power of attorney, and we also represent children in SINA matters. Our Midwestern office has 9 attorneys to serve the 3 counties that we are assigned to. Washington County is one of the counties that has the least amount of grant funding, and so it has currently the least amount of outreaches and clinics that we are able to offer. When we do have funding, we are able to offer in-person, on-site outreach clinics, including criminal record expungement, tenant rights, bankruptcy. We are able to meet clients where they are at. One of the largest issues we have found with offering our services is we cannot wait for people to come to us. We must go to them. I am a Hagerstown resident. I believe that our community needs and deserves the same level of care and legal representation as other grant-funded counties. And so I am here to speak about the importance of Maryland Legal Aid. Our desire is to break down barriers to housing and employment and promote stability and success for our clients. From August 1st, 2024 to July 31st of 2025, we opened 767 cases in Washington County. That is a fraction of the total number of cases that Maryland Legal Aid has opened over the years, and I know that there are more people that we could be serving throughout the year. With additional funding, we can not only expand our outreaches, but also increase our informational presentations. We know that not everyone will qualify for Maryland Legal Aid representation, but we want to spread knowledge as much as we can. With informational presentations, we set up at libraries, tenants' right councils, and we do PowerPoint presentations about what your legal rights are, how you can access local resources. It's also very important to us that we connect with our community partners. In other counties, we have expansive connections with residential recovery programs for those who were in active addiction and are trying to better their lives. With those sorts of programs that typically run around 6 months, we try and connect with clients in the beginning of their journey at residential recovery so that by the time they have left, they have a shorter criminal record. They have an understanding of their rights as tenants so that they do not get unjustly evicted in the future. We are setting them up for success as much as possible, and I know that there are similar programs in Washington County that we would be happy to partner with if we had the adequate resources to do so. As I said, Maryland Legal Aid's Midwestern office, we serve 3 counties and we have 9 attorneys. So resources are thin. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. With that, this concludes the public comment portion of the hearing, and I'm going to bring it back to the commissioners. Do you have any questions or concerns for staff? And just, go ahead. I was just saying, I was going to make a comment.
Go ahead.
This request to be placed on this list is just that, to be on a list of consideration. And when the gaming funds are reviewed, it's a very detailed process of critiquing and reviewing the request and the applications. And we all have appointments to that board, and it's a very strenuous application process. So just so the public is aware of that.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Well, I do have a couple of observations and maybe a question.
Sorry, Commissioner Harvey, are they, if it's part of the deliberation, we can wait till after, but if you have questions for staff, those would be appropriate now.
Yeah, I'll wait.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you want it? Okay. So if there's no questions, you want to
Move
go
on
ahead
to
and
deliberation.
Okay, yes, let's, at this point, the public hearing is now concluded, and commissioners, for your comments and deliberation.
I just want to correct something. This isn't for gaming funding. This is for COF funding.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yep. Okay. Good.
So President Barr, I think what we heard were advocates, and we have the input from each body saying what it is they do or what they aspire to do. I don't know how these groups fit into the larger mix of organizations that are already approved, if they're duplicative or not, of what else is being done in the county. I don't know if the priority for, some of these are obvious, that their priority is Washington County, but some may not be, have a priority for serving customers or clients or doing their work in Washington County. We didn't hear any critics of or questions being brought up about these organizations, about how they spend their money, how large their budgets are, what the distribution is between, you know, the salaries and overhead and what is actually deliverable on the ground, and didn't really hear about any metrics about results, which is something I would like to have an understanding of, outcomes, their track record, if you will. It's not a specific criticism, because quite often people in whatever field, they talk about activity, they talk about, you know, what their aspirations are, but, you know, it's easier to judge if you know if they're having success and how much success and what their budgets are and that type of thing. So I feel as though I don't have my appetite satisfied for the types of input that I would like to have to understand these groups and how they fit in with the larger effort that we have. I think maybe, I don't even know how many organizations we're already allocating money to, and if those are still viable, if they're actually delivering those services, if others that are on the list have changed their mission already. So I just have a number of questions before I would be ready to move forward on approving this, because I think we need a larger look at what we have here and in this, you know, authority we have to contribute money to these nonprofits. And I'm just throwing that out there as an observation.
Any other?
I'd like to take it under advisement for some of the reasons he said and a look at the COF funding group at large.
Is there a deadline by which time we need to have this done for the next cycle? Is the question I have.
The purpose of the August 1st deadline for the application is because, Maria, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the funding process starts this fall.
So the application process starts this fall. So anybody who's on this list will receive a packet from our Grants Management Department letting them know that they're on the list, and then they could submit projects to request funding. And as part of that review process, members who have been appointed to the Community Organization Funding Committee review their project requests. And then once they make a decision on what they intend to fund, that gets approved through the budget process, and that funding is not allocated to them until July the 1st of next fiscal year. So we've already allocated funding in the current fiscal year. This is for next year's funding allocations.
So there is a future opportunity for oversight. And
Yeah, I just have there's some ambiguity here that I'm not clear on, and maybe more experienced members of the board are more comfortable with it.
So what we can do is we can get you a complete list of all of those who are eligible, who are on the C1108 list, and then we can bring it back at a later date, and also get you a complete list of the entire process so that you know where the timeline goes. And then if the COF funding committee has sort of a matrix that they use to determine who's eligible, what they're going to fund, we'll provide you with that as well.
Randy, that would be helpful for you too, right?
Okay, we'll bring this back.
Okay. Any other discussion, comments? Hearing none, thank you. Next item under tab 2 is a public hearing, application for zoning text amendment, RZ 25-005, accessory dwelling units. Okay, let me, the purpose of this hearing is to hear public testimony concerning the matter. The procedure is as follows. We will first have staff introduce the matter, after which the hearing will be open for public comment and testimony. Each speaker will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to testify. Testimony that is not relevant to the subject matter of the public hearing or that is repetitive, disruptive, disturbing, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the public hearing will not be tolerated. Unauthorized remarks, loud noises, whistles, yells, or similar disruptions from the gallery shall not be permitted. Anyone who fails to follow these rules forfeits their opportunity to testify and be asked to return to their seat or leave the meeting room as deemed appropriate by the board. After everyone who wishes to speak has done so, the hearing will close. There shall be no donating or pooling of time to allow any one person to speak longer than the 3 minutes. After everyone who wishes to speak has done so, the hearing will close. The commissioners may then discuss the issue and provide direction to staff. Would anyone who'd like to testify today please stand for the oath?
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm, under the penalties of perjury, that the responses given and the statements made will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Travis Allen, Senior Planner, Department of Planning and Zoning, will now introduce the matter.
Morning, Commissioners. We're here to take public comment and testimony on RZ 25-005, a text amendment proposed to amend several sections of the zoning ordinance to permit the creation of a new housing type in the county, accessory dwelling units, or ADUs. Accessory dwelling unit is a broad term that refers to a smaller, self-contained residential dwelling that's located on the same parcel as a primary larger residential dwelling, typically a single-family home. An ADU can be an internal portion of the primary dwelling that is converted into a separate smaller unit, such as a basement, garage, or attic, or it can be created externally through the creation of a new addition to the structure or the rehabilitation of an existing detached accessory structure. The purpose of these amendments is to address the need for more affordable housing in the county. According to our comprehensive plan update, nearly 30% of owners and 50% of renters devoted more than 30% of their monthly household income to housing costs in Washington County in 2020. So there is a significant need for more affordable housing. ADUs then become one of a many-pronged strategy to help address that housing deficit. To that end, the state of Maryland, through House Bill 1466, recently passed legislation requiring counties to adopt legislation authorizing the development of accessory dwelling units on land which allows single-family detached dwelling units by October 1st of 2026. So in terms of the specific amendments that we are proposing to the zoning ordinance itself, we would be creating a new section in Article 4. This would be Article 4-27. We would permit by right the creation of one ADU per lot in conjunction with the principal use on a given property. ADUs would be allowed in both rural zoning districts, in this case agricultural rural, environmental conservation, preservation, rural village, and rural business zoning districts, and in urban zoning districts to include residential transition, residential suburban, residential urban, residential multifamily, business local, business general, and highway interchange. The ADUs in the commercial zoning districts that I noted there are designed to permit mixed use opportunities in select areas of the urban and town growth areas. Both attached and detached accessory dwelling units would be permitted both through new construction and through the conversion of existing spaces. In terms of dwelling unit types and where specific types of ADUs would be allowed, on single-family lots, a person would be allowed either an attached or a detached accessory dwelling unit. In two-family or duplex lots, they would be allowed a detached accessory dwelling unit. On semi-detached townhouse and multifamily lots, they would not be allowed either. A lot of that, again, has to do with both zoning restrictions as well as building code requirements, making those more or less feasible on those type of lots. And then on commercial lots, they would be allowed one attached accessory dwelling unit in commercial areas. In terms of parking requirements, we're proposing one additional space for the ADU. If street parking is available, they would be able to utilize that in order to meet that requirement. And we're proposing to waive that requirement within a half mile of a transit stop to encourage people to use public transportation. In terms of size, we are proposing that there be a size limitation of no more than 75% of the gross floor area of the primary dwelling unit or 1,500 square feet of gross floor area, whichever is less, and therefore ADUs greater than 1,500 square feet would be prohibited. That is in line with both the state legislation and best practices from around the country. The only exception to that would be converted basements or attics would be able to occupy the full space that already exists there if they were converting that space. In terms of bulk requirements, the lot coverage, setback, and height limits in the underlying zoning district would have to be met for the accessory structure, so we wouldn't be imposing anything different than it's already on the books for those standards. ADUs would not be included in residential density calculations, so they wouldn't be forced to subdivide these off and meet those requirements. They can actually not be subdivided from the principal unit. They must remain in common ownership. So they're essentially getting these by right as a part of what's allowed in that zoning district, and they're not intended to be subdivided and sold off at a later time. Short-term rentals would be prohibited because these are intended for the housing needs of the county, not necessarily for income generation of that prospective owner. Travel trailers would also be prohibited as ADUs. The next major amendments that we're making to the ordinance fall in Article 28A of the zoning ordinance, where our definitions are kept. We're proposing to either create or amend a few different definitions relating to dwelling units with these amendments. We'd be creating a new definition for accessory dwelling units that would read: a second subordinate dwelling unit that is located on the same lot, tract, or parcel as the principal dwelling. The ADU shall provide complete independent living facilities for one or more persons, including sleeping, eating, cooking, and sanitation facilities. And that definition is largely one that matches the building code definition. And that's where we're trying to align our zoning ordinance with building code definitions so there's not conflicts with the two. We would then be amending our existing definition for a dwelling unit, really kind of just matching what I read off there for an accessory dwelling unit to a substantial extent. It would read: a single unit providing complete independent living facilities for one or more persons, including permanent provisions for living, sleeping, eating, cooking, and sanitation. Finally, we propose to amend our two-family or duplex dwelling definition. It would now read: a building containing two dwelling units only, neither of which is an accessory dwelling unit, and each of which is separated from each other by a party wall without openings extending from the cellar floor to the highest point on the roof. And so that separation between the two units would help to define the difference between a two-family dwelling and an accessory dwelling unit. The separation is what would make something a two-family dwelling, whereas an ADU often has a door in between the two units, the ADU and the principal unit, in terms of building code requirements. So to wrap up here with the introduction, the Planning Commission did recommend for adoption of these amendments at their May 5th meeting, with the caveat that the size limitation on ADUs be increased from 1,000 square feet in terms of the maximum limit to the 1,500 square feet that we are proposing today. We would note that without these amendments and without a legal pathway for people to pursue this housing type, it leaves open the possibility that property owners will create these units without proper permits, thereby constructing additional dwelling units that do not meet the building code and are a risk to public health and safety. The only public comment that we have received to this point would be one public comment at the Planning Commission Public Information Meeting. That comment was mostly in reference to expressing support for the original 1,000 square foot size limit, which was discussed at that time at that meeting.
Okay. Jill, did you have comments?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay. With that, then, we will now open the hearing for public comment. And first up on the list is Sean Porter.
So, long story short, restricting the use of ADUs from short-term rental seems absolutely ridiculous. If one person can occupy the structure, two people can occupy the structure, why does it change when the person who owns that structure is benefiting from short-term rental, Airbnb? You guys get your taxes on that anyway, so I don't understand what the purpose of that is. And then the second thing I had to talk about, the 1,500 square foot rule maximum, it should be 75% of the footprint of the home, or 1,500 square foot, whichever is greater, so that you could build more square footage, you could house more people. You're talking about a housing shortage in Washington County, not enough, single-family dwelling units and whatnot. Why would you want to restrict the square footage that much? In a lot of rural situations, I mean, you got a giant field with acres of land. Why wouldn't you have a 1,500 square foot ADU using a common well, electric, and septic system? It just makes sense. And then you could rent out rooms or whatever, subsidize the insanely high property taxes that we currently have, because you bastards keep finding ways to spend our money and give it away to other people, pay attorneys, and waste everybody's time. So long story short, I'm in support of the changes on the ADU stuff. It should just be an automatic thing without special exceptions, so that SE could go away and we could just automatically be entitled to an auxiliary dwelling unit on our property. But again, the 75% rule, I don't know if you're counting the basement as well. I'm guessing you're counting above grade only, because Washington County usually only counts above grade. That seems prohibitive and it seems counterproductive. If you guys are here to make more affordable housing, you should allow people to build the biggest possible ADU. 1,500 square foot is what the most you're willing to do. What if someone built a tiny house? What if some crazy psychopath built a lighthouse or something with not a lot of square footage, and then they want to have a 1,500 square foot guest house for all their strippers and whatnot to sleep off their hangovers? I mean, it just seems ridiculous to restrict the size like that. But in conclusion, I support this. I don't support the board. And again, as always, I want to end my public comment with artistically expressing my deep, heartfelt political belief for this governing body. On my way back to my seat, I just want to show you what I think of you, John Barr, and this governing body. I think you should retire.
Mr. Porter, you're out of order.
There you go. Take a look at my butt. You like it? I don't need a gavel.
Next.
How long can I do this?
I've already gavelled you, Mr. Porter.
I got 40
Please,
seconds left.
you're done. Please leave.
You're done looking at my butt?
Mr. Porter,
Is that enough?
He's disrupting the meeting.
you're disrupting the meeting, Mr. Porter.
Maybe you should call a recess.
Next up is,
40 seconds left, look.
no, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No.
It says 40 right there. Are you fucking blind? Jesus Christ, John.
Mr.
Recess.
Porter, I've said you're finished.
Nursing home, like.
Please leave. If you don't leave, I'm going
You're
to,
doing the floor to me, dude. What are you
He's
doing?
already screaming and hollering.
You're taking it back?
huh?
He's disrupting the meeting.
What are you, like, a
Reset the
repossession
timer.
agent?
Reset the timer.
I get the full time?
No. You're done.
Will you just reset the timer?
Yes. Next up is Nancy Allen. Good morning.
Chair, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Nancy Allen. I'm a Realtor, and I've been in the business for over 30 years. I'm here on behalf of Penmar Realtors, representing the real estate professionals and property owners throughout Washington County. We're here to express our support for the inclusion of the accessory dwelling units, or the ADUs, in our zoning ordinance as one way to help expand the inventory and improve access to housing in our area. We'd also like to recommend a few key adjustments to make the proposal more effective, equitable, and aligned with the best practices in the state law.
We recommend additional solutions to be considered, such as loosening other regulations that impact the quantity, and to facilitate a timely process that will increase the housing supply in Washington County. We have 7 key points we'd like to mention here in our support of the ADUs. We know that they are a proven, cost-effective way to add housing in our community without changing neighborhood character when they are done carefully and with planning. As you've cited, nearly 30% of Washington County homeowners and 50% of renters are housing cost burdened, spending more than 30% of their income on housing, and ADUs could be part of that solution. And we'd like to highlight some of the consistencies. It was originally indicated that duplex lots could have detached ADUs, and semi-detached and townhouse lots could either have attached or detached ADUs. But I think now it's been amended to clarify that by his gentleman's comments earlier today. We strongly support keeping ADUs exempt from adequate public facilities ordinance fees and excise taxes. We feel this is critical for keeping them affordable for homeowners and renters. We'd like to provide statewide and national research on how some exemptions make the difference between a project being feasible or not. It also allows to promote aging in place and multi-generational living. ADUs allow older adults to age in place, families to house loved ones close by, and property owners to generate supplemental income to stay in their homes. The parking requirements and state law compliance, there's a potential conflict with H-Bill 1466. The 1 space per ADU requirement may not fully align with Maryland's new ADU law, which requires local ordinances to consider the cost of parking consideration, assess available curb space, evaluate stormwater impacts, and adjust lot size. With these refinements, Washington County can set a forward-thinking example that meets local needs, neighborhood character, and keep housing attainable. And thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mrs.
We look forward to working with you to promote affordable housing.
Thank you. With that, this concludes the public comment portion of the hearing. Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff? No questions? Then the public hearing is now concluded. Commissioners, your comments and deliberation.
Any comments I have is, obviously, I like the idea of ADUs. The problem, there's not a problem, but there's a whole lot to consider that we probably don't have time to cover now, and we've spoken about it in the past. It's not as easy, I guess, as building a 1,000 or 1,500 square foot home on your property. I don't know how much of this is completely state legislated, but we're going to have to take in consideration if you had an ADU on a lot that doesn't have proper setbacks or proper health department's going to have a lot of say. MD's going to have a lot of say in this on septics. I mean, if I build an ADU on an acre, it might not have enough of septic reserve left. It might have to have a separate septic. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jill. Water and sewer, and obviously if you had enough room with water and sewer service, makes the life a lot easier because you have a public water and public sewer. But when you're dealing with more of a rural setting with a smaller lot with septics and wells, that could present a problem, couldn't it?
There's that potential. Currently, the health department and MDE are looking into that issue, primarily based upon the state law that was passed. We have to deal with that issue, and they've been discussing it.
Okay, so that's yet to be determined.
Correct.
Okay, so that's just one of the things coming.
Yes, sir.
I think that's all for now. I think that's the biggest hurdle that's going to face some of the people who want to do ADUs. So I guess hopefully that gets resolved and there's a happy outcome on that. But I know it's going to be probably a talking point.
It likely will, and we understand that there are some hurdles. We just felt that it was extremely important at this point in time that we at least make the effort and just kind of work through the issues as they come up. This is a very important issue to us, obviously to the state as well. So we wanted to be proactive in our stance. And
And I agree. I think it's to get ahead of it a little bit and then let the caboose follow and see what we can actually accomplish at the end of it. I agree 100%. Thank you.
And one thing I'll clarify too is, you know, we're setting forest standards here just strictly in our zoning ordinance. There's a lot of things with utilities, with building code, you know, type of situations that cannot be solely addressed through zoning. So this is purely an amendment to allow that legal pathway for this housing type, recognizing that there's some other, you know, entities and agencies that have to, you know, work with these property owners to actually realize an accessory dwelling unit.
And I agree. It's getting the zoning in place first and then let everything else follow. Correct?
Yeah. Other comments? Yeah, thing pops in my mind, I guess, is you build an accessory attached and it triggers sprinkler requirement. Do you have to go back and put sprinkler in the entire structure? And so it just leads on and on and on to unaffordable. So just, again, as Randy said, first is the zoning, is this, and then all the other details would have to be addressed.
yes, I think you're fully aware that this coming legislative season will be heavily geared toward the housing efforts in the state of Maryland. So we fully anticipate that there would be
Mr. Porter, excuse me, Jill. Mr. Porter, please leave and don't come back.
Fuck you, John. Faggot.
Okay, I'm sorry, Jill. This beggar.
Oh, that's my train of thought, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It would be, the state, I'm sorry, the state is focusing heavily upon the housing efforts. I would fully expect that these issues dealing with sanitary facilities and other utilities will be addressed as part of that. It's going to have to take a comprehensive look.
Not to be repetitive, but my comments earlier this morning, you know, spending 4 days at Mako, this affordable housing was a major topic of concern.
Yes.
Across the state.
So just as I understand it, some people's hopes might go up because they think they can do this, but it's just zoning. If it's permits and the sprinkler thing, and maybe if you might need a different electric panel, and Potomac Edison might have to run a total separate account in, you know, so that they're paying. So there's a lot of additional costs that could be incurred, and whether or not the system will support it, other than even the septic thing, because if you're just going to add a bedroom, the county health department might say you can't because of the size of the field that you have or something. So
I think preliminarily, what they have been discussing is that if the unit is attached, that they would sort of view that as the number of bedrooms, and they would have to adjust the existing septic system. However, if it's a detached, they may require them to have a whole new septic system. So yes, I agree, there is a whole lot of things that need to be worked out. I will say that we as staff in zoning have been as proactive as we can to support. For example, we've been working very closely with Greg Cartrett and his permits office to deal with building code. You see that we've tried to align a lot of those definitions to take some of this out. Again, we have also recommended that we don't charge APFO fees or excise tax, again, to try to relieve some of the burden of those costs. So we are working as hard as we can to keep those costs as low as possible.
Anyone else?
Thank you, guys. I know you put a lot of work in this so far.
Okay, we're going to take this under advisement, make a decision later.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Can they vote today?
They can if they wish, but they can certainly take it under advisement if they so choose.
You want to go ahead today? What's your pleasure?
Today, if we voted, we'd be only voting on the zoning proposals, nothing else, right?
Correct. The language is in front of you, correct?
Yeah. Any appetite to do it today?
I don't think there's any urgency today. I think we're going to come up with more questions. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Okay, well, under advisement, we'll be back in touch.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Travis?
Okay. Under tab number 3, Forget-Me-Not months, September, October, and November 2025, and we have a proclamation and
If he needs to talk, and put him. No, you go ahead. Thank you, John.
Morning, sir. Morning, panel.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you, sir. Vietnam.
Yes.
1967, United States Marine Corps. Hoorah.
On behalf of my fellow commissioners, it's my honor to present this proclamation, Disabled American Veterans Organization Forget-Me-Not months, September, October, and November 2025. Whereas the Disabled American Veterans Organization offers free services to disabled veterans and their families in filing claims for government benefits, as well as the resolution of problems regarding employment, health care, and counseling. Whereas the Disabled American Veterans Organization strives to respond to emergency needs arising in the family of any disabled veteran. And whereas the community wishes to express a deep and continuing sense of gratitude to those disabled veterans who gave so much to protect, preserve our way of life. Now, whereas the Disabled American Veterans Organization has chosen September, October, and November 2025 for its annual Forget-Me-Not Drive in Washington County and pledges that all contributions will be utilized for disabled veterans and their families in our community. Now, therefore, we, the Board of County Commissioners, Washington County, Maryland, hereby recognize September, October, and November 2025 as Forget-Me-Not months and encourage all of our citizens to join in and support those who have given so freely to protect and defend the rights and freedoms of all of us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you again, sir. Thank you, panel. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We'll get you right up here in the center, sir.
I'm John.
Dave.
You're the center of attention now.
Sir.
You're the center of attention.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And 1, 2. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Klein. 1967. Yeah, I was in I-Corps up in the Dang. Yes, I was only there 4 months and spent a year in Bethesda Naval, put me back together. I got hit with booby trap on night patrol.
Yikes. So you were
Yes, 0311.
there you go.
Thank you again, sir.
Glad you made it through.
Yeah.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to convene as the Board of Health.
Motion to convene as Board of Health.
The guy came in earlier.
Motion, do we have a second? Okay, all in favor by saying aye. Opposed, same sign, 5-0. We are now convening as the Board of Health, and it's under tab number 4. SOR 4, State Opioid Response Adolescent Clubhouse. Good morning, Mr. Stoner.
Good morning, Commissioners. Earl Stoner, Washington County Health Department.
My name is Matthew Schmuck. I'm the Director of Human Services at the Central Region at Horizon Goodwill.
And we are here today, as the President he alluded to seek the recommended approval by the Board to award a contract to Horizon Goodwill Industries in the amount of $252,900 for the adolescent clubhouse that they run. This is actually a sort of an option year on the initial approval of the contract. And 100% of the funding is from the Maryland Department of Health, so no local funds are involved in it.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor for approval as submitted, fully funded by the state. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Need a motion to reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County, Maryland.
Reconvene the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County, Maryland. Motion.
Motion is second. All in favor? Opposed? Same sign, 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Under tab, well, where are we?
5.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm trying to jump ahead. Under tab 5, adoption of the 2040 Comprehensive Plan for Washington County. Good morning, Jill Baker.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am Jill Baker. I'm the Director to the Department of Planning and Zoning. Forgive me, I got a lot of things for you today. So, as you are fully aware, we have been working on this update to our comprehensive plan since 2019. We've had some stumbles in between the way. COVID mostly has sidetracked us, but we're here today. So we've presented a draft document to the Planning Commission, staff did in December of 2024, and a public hearing was held by that body on January 13th, 2025, in accordance with state law. The Planning Commission took comments from that public hearing and revised the plan accordingly. That produced a final draft that was forwarded to the commissioners with a favorable recommendation under a unanimous vote, and a copy of that recommendation is within your packet. The commissioners then held a public hearing on June 13th, 2025 to take additional public comment. Included within your packet is a summary of the comments that were made as part of that hearing, along with some suggested changes, if so desired by this board. So staff is therefore requesting that the commissioners adopt the Planning Commission recommended document, including any desired changes of the commissioners at this time. We would also request an effective date of October 1st, 2025, so that staff may make any of those desired changes, and we would have a finalized document for you. A copy of the adoption resolution is also included within your packets. I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Questions or comments? It's been well done. Motion?
Silence filled the room.
Tough morning.
Please, please,
Tough morning.
please.
Motion to approve.
Including the suggested amendments that are included within your packet?
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second for, as amended, as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed? 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. You have no idea how happy this makes me. This was very much a labor of love.
Thank you,
And
Jill.
we're excited for it to be complete.
That was quick and easy.
When did this start?
You know, we planned to make you wait.
2019 is when this started. We got a little derailed with COVID. We had a little bit of staff changeover, but we got there.
Thanks for all your hard work and and tenacity to stick with it, so.
Yes, sir.
Next item under tab 6 is amendments to the Adequate Public Facilities Ordinance, APFO, and the Building Excise Tax Ordinance, BETO, continued from June 3rd, 2025.
Yes, sir, thank you. Again, Jill Baker, Department of Planning and Zoning. As mentioned, this agenda item is a continuation of proposed changes to the Adequate Public Facilities Ordinance and the Building Excise Tax. As a reminder, a public hearing was held on May 6th, 2025, and the commissioners decided to leave that comment period open for 2 weeks, making the comment period closed on May 20th, 2025. Discussions were held at the June 3rd meeting, 2025 of the commissioners. You guys noted concerns regarding the level of increase in the tax and impacts on lots of record that may not pay APFO fees currently. There was also concern brought forward at the hearing about the proposed changes that would limit the number of annual building permits issued for individual subdivisions. In response to that, staff conducted an analysis over the last 5-year period, finding that approximately 1,000 building permits were issued on properties under jurisdiction within Washington County. That does not include municipalities. Approximately 20% of those permits were issued on existing lots of record. Using a very simplistic analysis, because the number of units will change over the years, the sizes of the houses will change over years, which are all factors and variables in where these numbers will fall. But as a baseline, using an average 2,000 square foot home, there's about a $20,000 difference for every 5-cent change in that fee. That's on an annual basis. So to maintain our current revenue levels under the APFO mitigation that's in place, as well as the excise tax that's in place, staff would not recommend going below $1.75 per square foot. In your proposal, and during the public hearing, we had proposed $2 per square foot for the excise tax. To avoid these significant increases in the future, we would also recommend that language be added into the excise tax ordinance that requires staff and the commissioners to evaluate every 2 years whether or not changes should be made. Just basically sets a goal for us to take a look at this every couple years so that we're not impacting people, you know, in one lump sum. The current proposed changes, as I mentioned, recommend building limits for developments that would exceed 100% but are less than 125% to 25 building permits per year. There were concerns that were addressed about that the number is too low. So staff suggests to increase the number of potential building permits to 50 building permits per year and 50 permits per year for apartments and condo units as well. And lastly, to give the owners and developers time to adjust to these proposed amendments, we are recommending an effective date of July 1st, 2026 to address these amendments. That's all I have for this. I'm happy to answer any questions.
So Jill, basically we can summarize this by saying from the proposal for $2, you would recommend nothing below $1.75.
Yes, sir.
And that there's, instead of 25 permits, there could be a possibility of 50 permits per year.
Yes, sir.
And instead of a January 1, say, we go to July 26 start date to give people in the pipeline a chance to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So those are the 3 major things.
Yes.
I think, you know, I hate to increase any fees, but I think we're probably, have you done research? I have a little bit. We're probably quite a bit lower than our neighboring communities. Is that correct?
We are probably a little bit lower than comparable counties that have the same population. Obviously, when you compare us to the more urban counties, Frederick and Montgomery County.
We're a lot lower.
We're a lot lower.
Yeah.
Lots lower. So I think we are still a little low, but the number that I gave you there, the $1.75, would basically likely break us even between what we're collecting in revenue now versus what we could potentially collect later.
And you're proposing every 2-year review, and what do we do in the past?
There is no deadline for review. This hasn't been reviewed for 10 years.
10 years?
That's why I said, it's probably important that we look at that more often so that we're not hitting people with large increases in a short period of time.
Jill, has there been any pushback on the number of apartments and condos at 50? My concern is, a lot of apartment buildings are 12 to 18 units in a building. That only allows for 4 a year, if that's the case.
Well, and keep in mind that would be per development.
Per development, okay.
Per development.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be overall. Each developer would have those rights. And at this point, I think this is a starting point for us. I haven't heard any feedback, basically because this is the first time developers will probably hear about this, because it was presented as 25 units during the public hearing.
Okay.
I think that increasing the routine building permits to 50, we did do an analysis of historic trends, and so we looked at Westfields was one of them, Elmwood Farms, Paradise Heights, Maple Valley, and in their heyday, they were doing probably between 50 and 60 building permits per year in that development.
So you've researched that, because 50 sounds adequate to me. I mean,
Yes, so we have looked at that.
Now that she explained it to me, because, those buildings with multiple apartments in them are big buildings, and they take a year or two to get built anyway, so.
Yeah, and keep in mind, the reason for that limitation is because we are acknowledging that the school is already at or over capacity, and we're just trying to build a little bit of time for us to help build revenue sources for potentially a new school or maybe an addition to a school or something like that.
Makes sense to me.
So my understanding is what you pay in APOF here is about a third of what you pay in Frederick County.
I think so.
At least it's.
At least.
Yeah, if not less, it's maybe.
yeah, I think we're like $5,000 average, and they're like $17,000 average.
17 or 18.
Yeah. And there's a proposal in West Virginia I just saw a proposal that it could be about $10,000 over there.
We had been looking at what, $2 per square foot?
Yes, sir.
And it currently is $1.50?
It's currently $1.
$1, so we're gonna go up to $1.75.
If that's your desire, yes. we could
Yeah,
do that.
that's what the pros is written right now, right?
Staff would just recommend not going any lower than that. If you wanted to compromise more than that, that's entirely up to you, obviously.
Okay, and is there any impact in this on warehouses?
No.
No, or any, okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it does, because
Yeah,
we are
right.
also recommending to raise the excise tax from $1 per square foot for non-residential uses to $1.50 per square foot. We did discuss that with the business development director and his staff, and they seem supportive of that.
Okay, all righty. I've heard enough. Thank you, that's all I.
Any further discussion? Motion? We want to take it under advisement?
I think you've adjusted it to a point where it's a lot less impactful to builders and for the community in large? And it has increased our revenue a little bit to try to break even? Unless I'm missing something, I don't have any other questions. I'd second that.
Okay, motion, second, ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Okay,
Thank you, Commissioners.
thank you, Jill. Okay, next item under tab 7, adequate public facilities ordinance, APFO mitigation proposal, Elmwood Farm, section 5D. Is
Yeah, that's okay. They're on the presentation.
I'd get down in front of the microphones, yeah.
So whenever you're ready.
Again, Jill Baker, Director of the Department of Planning and Zoning. We're here today to discuss a potential mitigation plan for Elmwood Farms Section D. The developer was here on April 15th, 2025, to discuss with the board an APFO mitigation plan that would effectively allow them to continue under the current alternate mitigation contribution that would charge $3,345.30 per lot they create. That would equate to about $63,000, a little over $63,000. The board found that proposal to be insufficient and advised that the developer work with staff to come up with a new plan. The developer is now submitting a mitigation plan to provide a monetary contribution of $5,000 per lot rather than the $3,345.30, which would be about $95,000. Again, this is for Elmwood Section D, consisting of 19 lots that are located within the Fountain Rock Elementary, Springfield Middle, and Williamsport High School districts. I'll turn it over to the owner, if that's okay.
Sure. Mr. Wantz?
Thank you, Commissioner Barr. My name is William C. Wantz. I represent the developer of Elmwood Farm. With me this morning are Jim Fitzgerald and Ron Della Valle. They're the principals of the developer. This is not new to most of you. It is new to, I believe, Commissioner Leatherman has a background on this. We've been in and had approved previous alternative mitigation contribution proposals for Elmwood Farms. This is the last of the developments which benefit from the rule in the mitigation and full adequacy sections of the current APFO, under which developments which had a subdivision plat approved before July 1, 2005 are allowed special consideration in allowing alternate mitigation or AMC payments. This development meets that criteria because the preliminary plat was approved by the Washington County Planning Commission on February 7, 2005, just a few months before the cutoff. This was to help grandfather in developments which had already had preliminary plat approval before the amendments to the APFO took effect, and to allow some flexibility since there was already a capital investment of significant size in those developments approved before the July 1, 2005 change in status. So this is the final section of the final plat which qualifies under that 2005 preliminary plat exception. We met on April the 15th of this year with the commissioners. And we were asked to work with staff on a modified mitigation plan for the reason that under the original plat that had been approved on February 7th, 2005, the development was approved as a whole, but Jill made the point that there were 175 lots in that subdivision on the day it was approved. Now there are 19 additional lots above that 175. Those are what comprise Section 5D. So we've used up the 175 under the planning director's interpretation of the extent of the preliminary plat approval, that it doesn't apply to changes or amendments to the plat. And we're willing to proceed on the basis that we pay an additional $5,000. This is in addition to the normal APFO fees and excise taxes. This would amount to a total of around $95,000 additional. The school that triggers this is the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school meet the school adequacy requirements. There will be a significant time for moving to final plat approval and then the build out and the absorption in the market. I understand that there has been some progress in the Downsville Elementary School, and unless there's something that might prevent that from happening, it looks like the timing on this may well coincide. So we're happy to offer a mitigation plan with this additional cash payment per lot. The mitigation plan indicates that a contribution would be in the on a per lot basis, so doing the calculations. Let me just turn it over briefly to Mr. Della Valle, may have an additional comment.
He needs, can you hit the microphone?
I hesitate to correct anything that's said. But we were talking about a change of the total contribution from 63,560 to 95 in total, as it contrasted with 95 additional to the 63. And that was presented, I think, properly in the attachment to your open session item, the agenda report form on page 2.
In the letter that was submitted by Mr. Wantz dated June 18, 2025, I would direct your attention to the last paragraph on the page that basically says, resubmits the mitigation proposal, including an additional monetary contribution in the amount of $5,000 per unit.
So does that make the total contribution per unit $8,345.30?
I would just simply ask them to clarify that today with you.
I was believing the total mitigation contribution is $95,000 or $5,000 per lot, contrasted with $3,345 per lot.
Any discussion from the board?
I guess I'm confused at this point. It was presented just now as regular AFPO fees plus 5,000 per lot additional. Is that correct, Jill, is what I thought we heard?
I thought that's what the proposal was for. That's the way I read the letter. However,
But I know, but the controversy seems to be, it wasn't regular AFPO fees, it was just 5,000 per lot. It seems like we're in.
I think that's what they intended to present here to you today,
Yes,
is
that's
the
the
straight.
figure that was discussed when we were working with the planning director. I may have misspoken, but it was in addition to the 3345.
Well, I'm still confused. Regular AFPO fees on a 2,000 square foot house, including a basement, would probably be $5,000, right?
Not APFO. If you combined APFO with excise tax.
Right, that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm staying corrected, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess it's up to you guys to clarify now.
Yes.
Is the 5,000 plus the excise tax?
Yes.
Yes, that was stated in Ms. Baker's staff report.
So just, so just the straight 5,000, not in addition to the 3,000, so.
Not in addition to.
Not in addition to.
So it's just 5,000 per lot is what we think the proposal is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, with this, not including excise tax, is that?
Correct. Excise tax is.
But
based
I think
upon
we
the
need
square
them to clarify, because
Yes, I agree.
Mr. Wants continues to say it's in addition to, whereas the developer says it's not in addition to, it's in replacement of.
In replacement.
Okay.
So, again, it's $2 a square foot right now for excise tax.
$1.
$1, I'm sorry,
Yes.
$1 a square foot for excise tax plus 5,000?
Plus 5.
Plus
Those
5,000.
two fees combined.
Yes.
Is what we're discussing.
No,
No,
we're not
just-
talking about excise tax at all. That is separate and apart
Right.
from this
They
discussion.
still have the second fee to pay separate later. The discussion today is they're
Correct.
going just with the
Just on the 5,000
$5,000.
AFP, yeah, I got you.
Correct.
And the other fee comes into play later.
So
We're not-
instead of paying the 3,300, I think what they're saying is they would pay the 5,000 for a total of $95,000
Is that
for
what you guys
19
are-
lots.
Is that what you're saying now?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
Motion to approve as stated, as clarified.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and second, ready to vote. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen. Thank you. Have a great day.
It's always a beautiful day in
Every day's a
Washington
beautiful
County.
day in Washington County.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, under tab 8, Sole Source Award, PUR 1767, Vesta 911 Hardware Refresh Upgrade for the Department of Emergency Communications. Brandy Kentner and Alan Matheny.
Good morning, Brandy Kentner, Director of Purchasing.
Alan Matheny, Director of Emergency Management and Communications.
The first recommendation I have for you this morning is the Sole Source Award, POR 1767. Move to award the contract for the purchase and installation of the Vista 911 hardware refresh upgrade, all related hardware and software to Carousel Industries out of Newport News, Virginia, for a total proposal value of $2,306,963.76. This includes maintenance and support for a 5-year period at $70,760 per year. This award is also contingent on the county attorney's approval of the final agreement that will be signed between the county and Carousel. The hardware upgrade to the system will pinpoint callers' location faster with greater accuracy, which could ultimately save lives and improve decision-making and responses. The Department of Emergency Communications wishes to apply Section 1 through 106.2A and 2 of the Code of Public Local Laws of Washington County to procure this request. This section states that a sole source procurement is authorized and permissible when the compatibility of equipment, accessories, or replacement parts is paramount to the consideration, which is so with this purchase. This request requires 4 of 5 commissioners to proceed. Funding is available through grant GRT 105. The Numbers Board also approved the funding. There is no cost to the county for this request.
I have a question.
Yeah, I do.
Alan, maybe you can answer it. The new text and video capabilities, describe that.
We're not doing the video at this time because of storage
Okay,
requirements for it.
okay. But this
We will
new,
be doing the texting part,
and so we will not do the video even with this enhancement?
not right this second. That's one of the things we're working out is how to store the data.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Question I have, these funds are derived from phone bills,
Yes, sir.
landlines only, or cell phones also?
everything.
Everything. Everybody that pays a phone bill
Has a
has,
911 fee attached to it.
okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you. Next item, under tab 9, intergovernmental cooperative purchase, 25-0202, automated speed enforcement system, Washington County Sheriff's Office.
Randy Kentner, Director of Purchasing.
Pete Losley, Sheriff's Office.
The next recommendation is the intergovernmental cooperative purchase, INTG-250202. Move to authorize by resolution for the approval for the Washington County Sheriff's Office to enter into a contract to lease an automated speed enforcement system at a cost of $3,499 per month from Ultimate out of Lanham, Maryland, and to utilize another jurisdiction's contract that was awarded by Calvert County Department of Finance and Budget and the Purchasing Office. This is also contingent on the final approval by the County Attorney's Office on the agreement. The board initially awarded the automated speed enforcement system contract to Breckford Traffic Safety Incorporated originally September 25th of 2017. Breckford has since then merged with Carousel. The county is one of many jurisdictions to use the automated speed enforcement to reduce traffic crashes, pedestrian accidents, and save lives. The contractor shall provide all services and materials described in the contract, such as invoicing for violations, telephone customer service, monthly, quarterly, and annual reports. The contract is for a period of 1 year, commencing on final approval of the contract documents with the option to renew up to 4 consecutive 1-year period. The Code of Public Laws of Washington County, Maryland, provides that the Board of County Commissioners, Section 1 through 106.3 provides that the Board of County Commissioners may procure goods and services through a contract entered into by another government entity as long as we abide by the same terms and conditions of that contract, and we are doing so with this contract. Funding is available for this purchase in the department's operating budget.
So this will provide 8 additional speed cameras?
No, non-additional, it's just a new contract to provide the same services with the cameras that we have.
Okay.
Do they get a portion of the ticket revenue?
Oh, yeah.
So it's $34.99 plus they get a cut?
They get money there.
Yep. I thought it sounded pretty inexpensive, actually, for,
Yeah.
there's got to be more money there somewhere. I contribute to that, by the way.
I think we all have.
Yeah.
I think we all have.
Is that a confession?
No. Prove it.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to second on the floor. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next item under tab 10, contract award PUR 1640, 8 portable law enforcement radios and accessories for the Washington County Sheriff's Department.
Randy Kentner, Director of Purchasing.
Todd Kern, Sheriff's Office.
Tom Weber, Deputy Director, Wireless Communications.
The next recommendation is the contract award PUR 1640. Move to authorize the Washington County Sheriff's Department to utilize the Communications Systems and Service Sole Source Contract PUR 1640 with Motorola for the purchase of 8 portable law enforcement radios and the accessories from Motorola Solutions out of Linthicum, Maryland, for a total sum of $86,994.88. This is based on their proposal. 8 new positions were approved by the Board of County Commissioners for the Sheriff's Department. These radios will be utilized by the new deputies. Funding is available in the department's operating budget for this purchase.
Motion to approve.
Motion and second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you. Next item under tab 11, intergovernmental cooperative purchase, 25-203, purchase of 4 new 2025 Trail King trailers for the Washington County Highways Department.
Randy Kentner, Director of Purchasing.
Zane Rao, Deputy Director of Highways.
The next recommendation is the intergovernmental cooperative purchase, INTG 25-0203. Move to authorize by resolution for the Washington County Highway Department to purchase 4 new 2025 Trail King 40-ton trailers from Cleveland Brothers of Bridgeport, West Virginia, for a total amount of $277,202, and to utilize another jurisdiction's contract that was awarded by Sourcewell to Trail King. These 4 2025 trailers will replace 5 2007 25-ton trailers. The 2007 trailers meet and exceed the county's vehicles and equipment types and uses guideline for replacement, as well as addressing safety concerns with the current ones. These trailers, the old trailers, will be sold on gov deals. The Code of Public Local Law of Maryland 1 through 106.3 provides that the Board of County Commissioners may procure goods and services through a contract entered into by another government entity, as long as we abide by the same terms and conditions. We are doing so at this time. Also, due to the economies of scale, this contract is leveraged. We are saving money on this purchase. There is funding available in the department's capital budget for this purchase.
Good. Any discussion?
Yes.
Just 2 axle, is that correct?
Tandem axle, correct.
Tandem axle, that's it.
Correct.
That's sufficient.
I'm sorry?
That's sufficient, obviously.
I would say, yeah, for 95% of what we haul.
Yeah. What's a typical load on that? What are you putting on them?
Backhoe would be the heaviest, they're
okay.
probably
What's a backhoe?
15,000, 16,000, but it would, pavers, rollers, which would be lighter than that.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And we're trying to cut down the fleet. That's why we're going from 5 to 4. One to be in each section, one of the new trailers.
Yeah. I was just surprised that it was 2 axles. But
Yes. You can get them in tri-axle, but I think then it went up to 50-ton, but we just don't need that.
Any issues through the year? Any issues through the years with 2 axles?
No, the only issue we've had is some loading issues with pavers and rollers because of the load angle with the trailers we have now. These trailers are going to be basically like a roll-off, a slide back. It's a constant 7-degree loading angle, so it'll be a lot safer.
Yeah, good.
Motion to approve.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zane. Next item under tab 12, intergovernmental cooperative purchase 25-0204, line striping of county roads.
Randy Kentner, Director of Purchasing.
Doug Levine, Supervisor Highway Operations.
The last recommendation I have for you this morning is the intergovernmental cooperative purchase, INTG-25-0204. To authorize by resolution for the move to authorize by resolution for the Highway Department to utilize the Howard County, Maryland line striping contract with Alpha Space Controls out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, for a total line striping in the amount of 1,635,514 linear feet at a cost of .107 a linear foot on various roads throughout the county for a total dollar amount of $175,000. The Code of Public Law of Washington County provides 1 through 106.3 provides that the Board of County Commissioners may procure goods and services through a contract entered into by another government entity, as long as we are bound by the same terms and conditions of that contract. Funding is available in the department's operating budget for this expense.
Do the math, how many miles is that?
309.
309, that's but we have 900 some miles of roads, right?
But that's,
But
that
if you do
300,
both
that,
sides, you got 1,800.
that 309 is if you have a road that's just hypothetically, say 1 mile, that's 4 miles, because you get the double center line and then the two edge lines. So that's 4 miles on, 4 miles on one mile road.
Well, my comment, it's not enough to do it one time. We should be doing these roads, these stripings more, because just take the recent weather we had in Easter or the snowstorm and the fogs in the winter. Those lines save your life. They keep you on the road. And I quote Mr. Wagner, Commissioner Wagner, who said he's an old guy, he depended on those lines too, in a quote. But for now, I'll support this, but I think we should be considering doing more than that in our budget unless we have it. I mean, it's important. Those white lines save you, unless there's a argument to increase it.
What would it take to get us to a point to address Jeff's concerns? You know, doubling it, tripling?
Like Commissioner Klein said, we're doing 309 miles
Divided by 4.
one way. So obviously, money would be the,
It's 309 miles, but that's.
It's only 77 miles.
It's only
Technically,
77
technically,
miles.
Divided by 4.
my fault. But
How many total miles do we have in the county again?
880?
So, and how often do you have to redo these is the question? To make them very visible to people that, you know, might be elderly or whatever, you know, having vision problems or what, bad weather.
So we take into consideration tar and chip roads, roads that are heavily traveled, and obviously the winter has a lot of bearing on it between the salt and scraping with the plow, hits the glass beads and knocks, you know.
So we need to do them every 3 years, every 4 years?
Some roads I do every 3 years, some roads we do every 2 years. There's a few roads in the county that we do every year, major roads.
Maybe we should just try to work it in the budget to do more lining. You know, I don't know, you know, that's easy for me to say.
And in the budget to do it right now, is my question.
That's above my pay grade. Let's
We
say
have any flexibility with our, this is, it's operational, but it's also, in my mind, capital.
So this is something that we could consider when we review the budget next year to
Yeah, but that don't do any good on roads that are poorly striped this winter.
this current
I
year.
mean, I hate to be saying this today and find that somebody had an accident because all our lines weren't striped apart. Hate to be a fearmonger, but I think this is an important road safety issue, that we're only doing a small percent of our roads, whether the road's heavily traveled or a back road with only 20 cars a day, if they're not striped.
So if we wanted to increase the budget in the current year, we would need to use reserves for that.
I'm good with that. I make a motion, this is 175,000?
Yes.
I think we need to start, if we tripled it, it would be 350, 525, right?
Correct.
Did a lot of painting with that.
Can you even get that done?
Well, what we do is when we sit down and go over what roads we're gonna paint, we split it. We do partial now, and then we'll come back at the end of spring, May, early June, and finish up any roads that need to be.
I guess a better question is how many roads could you do how many miles could you do this year?
We can always do more than 309 miles, or 77 as.
It would be closer to 240 miles.
Yeah.
I think I would be careful tripling it in 1 year because ultimately it needs to be sustainable. And you're starting a new cycle when you do that. So 3-4 years from now, we would need to do that big dump again.
We wouldn't have to do it every year to catch up on the roads that are fading. As you mentioned, some of them aren't getting done. We could do it a one-time catch-up and then go back to your regular policy.
Andrew?
Yeah, Andrew, Public Works. I'd like to offer one comment. So we do work closely with engineering who does the pavement maintenance program, and so there's some painting that happens under that. So it's tough to say right here now if we had extra money, you know, how many more miles we would pave or where we would put those resources. So I know that's also an area of importance. So if there's a consideration, perhaps we look at it in kind of totality, because in some cases, we're painting roads that probably should be resealed or repaved. And so sometimes the paint's not holding up as well because the surface is not there to hold the paint down. So I would certainly accept more money for painting. We need to do it, but there's also a consideration you have to look at the resurfacing and the painting.
Isn't that something that you
Fine,
would look?
just do your research and find out which ones we can do, what's acceptable.
Well, when we come up with our list, of roads, everything is sent to engineering for Blair Reynolds to look at, and he in return lets us know, don't do this road because it's gonna be on the patch list in the spring, or we're gonna overlay this road. So there's communication between us and engineering on what we wanna do versus what's gonna be
Well, I
done.
would say just come back with what you can do, what's feasible, and we'll go from there.
I'd just like to make a motion that we double it.
I think double makes more sense.
Double it now.
Double makes more
And
sense.
you make the determination. I'm not going to get into the weeds of determining what road gets done. That's for you to do
We don't
once you
normally
have
look
the
at
money.
that. Yeah, we don't normally review
Yeah, I
that.
support that motion.
Yeah.
Good motion.
Seconded?
Discussion?
Second.
Okay.
Discussion. And then determine which roads, like Andrew mentioned, that shouldn't be done because of all the conditions, but find out what roads we can do to provide more safety for our citizens driving in bad weather, to keep them on the road.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to double the requested fee, and we're going to look at whether that's coming out of
It would come out of reserves, fund balance
reserves. Okay.
reserves.
Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item under tab 13, contract award PUR 1751, East Side Terminal Expansion and Rehabilitation at the Hagerstown Regional Airport.
Good morning, Neil Doran, Airport Director.
Andrew Ashelman, Director of Public Works.
So today we're seeking two recommended motions. The first motion would be to award a contract for the East Side Terminal Building expansion and the rehabilitation base bid, and also to add alternate number 1 to Callis Contractors LLC of Hagerstown for the total price of $3,287,000, and also to execute a contract change order number 1 in the amount of $102,930, removing the value of the furnishings from the base bid project cost so that they may be rebid under a separate contract. We are also seeking a second motion to empower the Board of County Commissioner President to execute a proposal from Airport Design Consultants Incorporated to provide construction phase services in the amount of $652,207. Now, we have some background related to this motion we'd like to read.
Okay.
The terminal building expansion, the rehabilitation project, includes a base bid for the addition of some 4,800 square feet of new floor area. Add alternate number 1 also includes a selective demolition and renovation of 1,200 square feet of existing airline service support space. And add alternate number 2 includes the replacement of fixed seating in the existing passenger hold room. Due to a Federal Aviation Administration grant reimbursement eligibility determination concerning those same furnishings related to the specifications in the bid prices received in add alternate number 2. At this time, add alternate number 2 is not recommended for award, and furnishings included in the base bid is what is represented by contract change order number 1, to remove them from the contract as they will be re-advertised together in a new standalone bid in the future. The FAA and the Maryland Aviation Administration have provided grant concurrence for their award. We've received that to date. The furnishing costs are included in the state and federal grant funding, and we also anticipate future concurrence on the repackaged furniture bid at a later date, as those procurement processes are now underway. Additional detail related to motion 2, the request includes construction phase service fee proposal to approve that for ADCI. The $652,207 fee was determined to be reasonable by the airport. It's also within the limits established by a recently completed independent fee estimate. The airport is in receipt of related grant awards, again, from both the FAA and the MAA. They have reviewed and concurred with the proposed award, as we recommend here today to Callis Contractors, and they've reviewed and concurred to the proposed award to ADCI. Just as a reminder, ADCI serves as the airport's contracted on-call consultant, engineer of record, and they were previously selected under solicitation PUR 1714. We have funding within the airport's BLD 115 budget, and this project was previously identified and budgeted. And just to go over the amounts that are on the awarded grant, the FAA has committed to supplying $4,346,211. The Maryland Aviation Administration is committing $472,016, and we anticipate our local share to be $343,607, totaling $5,161,834. Thank you for listening.
And this would require two motions, one for the construction contract and the other for ADCI for the consulting construction phase services.
I had a couple questions.
Go ahead.
Andrew, have we done business with airport design consultants before?
Many years, at least a decade or more,
Okay.
they've been the consultant.
Okay. And then Neil, does this bump out include crew quarters for a timed out crew or not?
It includes the shell space that could be converted in the future for those purposes. Yeah.
Thanks.
So yes, just because of the grant eligibility criteria, this grant's focusing on building that square footage. And then we would need to look at that at a later date. It just made sense to break those two out separately and with the grant deadlines to go ahead and pursue this portion of the work now.
Okay, thanks.
You know, I'd motion to do recommendation number 1 as stated in our,
It's for the
unless you want
contract.
me to read the whole thing.
It's for the contract award.
It's for the contract
Yeah,
award.
for the contract award.
Total
yeah.
price of $3.287 million.
Yep.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, go ahead, Neil.
I just make mention of the change order too as well. That's
Correct. It references a change order, reducing it of $102,930.
Okay.
You okay with that, Commissioner Wagner?
Yes,
Okay, and seconds okay with that. I'm ready to call for a vote, but before we vote, I want to just abstain from voting for this because of the contract. So just for full disclosure. So all in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Now, we need a motion for the contract services.
Yeah,
Design
I'd
services?
make a motion for motion 2 to empower the, you have to abstain from this, BOC?
I don't think so. I have no contact with,
Empower the BOC president to execute a proposal with ADCI to the construction phase services amount of $652,207.
Second.
okay, ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. You okay with that, Zach?
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
I don't even know who they are, so, okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Next item under tab 14, I think we are, Potomac Edison easement request.
Good morning, Commissioners. Todd Moser, Real Property Administrator.
Andrew Eschelman, Director of Public Works.
Move to approve the easement to authorize the execution of the necessary documentation to finalize the easement. Potomac Edison has requested an easement for an underground circuit along road frontage of Black Rock Golf Course. The easement would be 10 feet in width. The installation of the line is expected to begin in September. Will be underground where physically possible. The boring of any road or driveway crossings would occur. If rock becomes an issue, Potomac Edison would coordinate utility crossings by open cut with half-lane closures one side at a time or after-hours work to minimize disruption. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye. Opposed, same sign, 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Tab 15, FY26 Senior Citizen Activity Center Operating Fund Grant Approval to Accept Awarded Funding.
Good morning, Richard Lush, Grant Manager, Office of Grant Management.
Good morning, Sandra Wood, Washington County Commissioner on Aging.
We are here today to request a motion to approve the acceptance of funding awarded under the Senior Citizens Activity Center Operating Fund Grant Program from the Maryland Department of Aging in the amount of $28,601. The Maryland Department of Aging requires applications to not only be submitted by local governments, therefore the county is the grant applicant and will enter into a subrecipient agreement with the Washington County Commission on Aging to implement the grant-funded projects. The awarded funds will be received and distributed through the county's Budget and Finance Office, and the Office of Grant Management will ensure all required fiscal and programmatic reports are submitted in an accurate and timely manner. The grant performance period is July 1, 25 through June 30th, 2026, and no matching funds are required for this.
Discussion, motion? Is that a motion?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tab 16, 2025 Emergency Management Performance Grant Approval to ratify the submission of the grant application and accept awarded funding.
Richard Lesh, Grant Manager, Office of Grant Management.
Cody Swope, Emergency Management Specialist. It's the
So $93,000 one is first. I don't know if that helps.
There it is. Okay. We are here requesting ratification of the submission of the application for the Emergency Management Performance Grant Program to the Maryland Department of Energy Management Agency and approval to accept the funding as awarded by the agency. The purpose of the Emergency Management Performance Grant Program is to provide federal funds to the states to assist state, local, tribal, and territory emergency management agencies in obtaining their resources required to support the national preparedness goals associated with the areas and core capabilities. The Maryland Department of Emergency Management is expected to award the county $93,022.39, which will fund the emergency management planner's salary and other related equipment for emergency management. The Office of Grant Management has reviewed the guidelines, and the performance period of this federal grant is from October 1 of 25 through September 30th of 2027. $80,000 of the grant funding request will reimburse wages and benefits, and $13,022.39 for operating expenses, making the total fund $93,022.39. There is a 100% match required for this grant, which will be accomplished by using the Director of Emergency Management salary as in-kind services.
Okay. Discussion, motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you. Next item, tabs number 17, State Homeland Security Grant Program, approval to ratify the submission of the grant application and accept awarded funding.
Richard Lesh, Grant Manager, Office of Grant Management.
Cody Swope, Emergency Management Specialist.
We are here to request ratification of the submission of our application for the State Homeland Security Grant to the Maryland Emergency Management Agency and approval to accept the funding as awarded by the agency. The State Homeland Security Grant Program is administered by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and passes through the State Emergency Management Agency to be distributed to local jurisdictions. The program is intended to enhance, maintain current Homeland Security initiatives as they pertain to prevention, preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation. $40,000 of the grant funding is requested and will pay partial salaries for emergency management staff of $54,028.91 will be budgeted for operational costs, which include training, equipment, public outreach, and response capabilities. The $59,675 for capital expenses, making the total funding $153,703.91. The Office of Grant Management has reviewed these grant guidelines. The performance period for the federal grant is October 1, 25 through August 31st of 28. There is no matching fund requirement associated with this grant.
Discussion? Motion?
Motion approved.
Okay, we have a motion, second.
Second.
All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Next item under tab 18, USTA grant funding to resurface Washington County Public Schools tennis courts.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning. Maria?
Maria Kramer, Director of the Office of Grant Management.
Tim Alexander, Assistant Park Supervisor.
We're here today to ask for your motion to approve the grant application for an acceptance of capital funding from the United States Tennis Association for tennis court rehabilitation and resurfacing up to $625,000. Washington County Parks and Recreation Department respectfully requests that the BOCC approves the application for and receipt of funds for the USTA grant to rehabilitate and resurface tennis courts at WCPS school sites. This project aims to restore the safety, functionality, and aesthetic appeal of these courts to support both athletic programming and community recreational use. The project would include blended court lines for both youth and adult play. The scope of this project includes tennis courts at North High, South High, Clear Spring Middle and High, Boonesboro High School, Smithsburg High, Williamsport High, and Hancock Middle and High Schools. The county has a joint use agreement with WCPS for these sites. The project is anticipated to be completed over the course of the next year, with minimal disruption to school activities. All work will be done through coordination with WCPS as well as school administrators. The grant does require a 50% funding match, which is $625,000 from county funds. Funds are available in the park CIP budget for hardcore resurfacing. Concurrences were Andrew Eshelman, Director of Public Works, and Jamie Dick, the Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation.
Motion to approve.
Have a second? Have a second? Everybody's quiet here today.
I second.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Very
sorry.
good, thank you. We have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. You good? Okay, tab number 19. MOU between the town of Smithsburg and the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County.
Good morning, Commissioners. Greg Hartrett, Director of Permits and Inspections, Code Official.
Rosalinda Pasquale, Deputy County Attorney.
We're here today to move for an approval to accept the MOU between the Town of Smithsburg and the Board of County Commissioners. The Town of Smithsburg has requested the Washington County Division of Permits and Inspections take over the building permits, collection of fees, and building inspections within the town limits of Smithsburg. Currently, Division of Permits and Inspections handles only the trade permits and inspections inside the town limits of Smithsburg, and the Town of Smithsburg handles the building permits, collection of fees, and building inspection. The Town of Smithsburg has requested that Washington County Permits and Inspections start issuing building permits, collecting all fees to include excise tax, and conducting all building inspections inside the town limits with an effective date of September 1, 2025. Currently, we receive no revenue from building permits issued within the town limits, by us now issuing the permits, collecting the fees, and conducting building inspections, we will receive 75% of that revenue collected on all building permits inside of Smithsburg.
Just a curious question, Greg, under fiscal impact, we don't have to hire anybody to do
No,
that
sir.
extra. You can do that all in-house now?
Yeah, well, a lot of our inspectors are already there on site because of the trade inspections. Now it would just be, we would be the ones doing that, doing all the inspections.
Right.
No need to hire anybody.
Our people are already there.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yep. A motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Item under tab 20, partnership agreement, paramedic program.
Mr. President, could I ask to take our next item first? Dr. Klauber and Director Lewis are not here.
Okay. So you want to go to EMS staffing?
21.
Okay. Let's jump ahead to under tab 21, it will be, and that's EMS staffing transition discussion, volunteer fire company of Halfway.
Good morning, Chip Rose, Director of Human Resources.
David Hayes, Director of Emergency Services.
Staff is here to update you on the progress of the EMS employee transition for Halfway's Volunteer Fire Company. We're seeking approval for the staffing plan that we'll be executing over the next 30 days. Please notice that there are 3 of the paramedics that will eventually be brought in as lieutenants. These 3 would be part of the original 12 positions that were authorized for hire in the June 3rd open session presentation to the VOCC. These are not new positions. Consistent with the terms and conditions of the staffing MOU, we would transition their part-time EMS employees to maintain staffing levels throughout our transition. All but one of those employees has applied for full-time employment with us. You can see in the handouts that I've shared with you in advance, the first page shows you the number of positions that we would need to staff the Halfway model. Below that, in the green heading, are the number of employees, basically the roster of the Halfway employees that were there, most of them part-time, but some of them were full-time. A couple corrections, Ludwig and Boiler are listed as full-time, but they are in fact part-time employees. And as an update, Midlocker, which is right there in the middle, Gabriella Midlocker is back from her FMLA leave, and so she will be able to transition as well. The third attachment that you have, or the second page that you have, is actually the placement of the slotting, if you will, of where those employees that are on the roster for Halfway are going to go in the permanent roster that we're going to put together for Halfway going forward. I'll pause here and see if you have any questions or thoughts about the transition plan or the slotting of the staffing plan.
This is primarily to get approval to create 3 lieutenants as part of this transition to, as the department has grown, it necessitates an additional level of supervision, and this will create that.
The only question I have is, that's what we're dealing with, is what's the process for choosing 3 lieutenants?
We'll have an application process. It's internal, and then they'll go through the vetting, which will include a practical scenario, where they'll have to do scenario-based evaluation on their skills and abilities. Some of that will include like an HR component. But that's the same process we use, and we've already used that for our captains.
Okay. I was just curious what the process was.
Dave, how are the facilities at 26 for that staffing?
I mean, they're acceptable. There's going to be a conversation. Oh, sorry. I almost talked loud, so I moved it away. There's going to be a conversation with Halfway. They want to do some improvements, and that will be something that I'll discuss with the county administrator about what some of the viable options might be for that.
Okay.
But it's acceptable as today.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. I don't see Dr. Klauber here. We okay to move forward with the next one? Aaron's here.
Yes.
Okay. Then we're going to jump to tab 22, amendment to county real tax credit ordinance for fallen heroes. tab 22.
Good morning, Commissioners. Aaron Weiss, Assistant County Attorney. I'm here requesting a motion to adopt the amended Washington County Property Tax Credit Ordinance for Fallen Heroes. On June 1st of this year, the Maryland General Assembly passed Senate Bill 502, which expands the scope of the statute section 9-210 of the property tax article, which governs the granting of property tax credits. Notably, the amendments to that statute now allow a local government to expand eligibility for property tax credits to include correctional and judicial officers. Previously, the law only allowed for fallen law enforcement officers and rescue workers. And I'm here seeking a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think we're ready to move forward. No one, is anyone here from the sheriff's office?
Let's take,
Yeah, you want to do, okay, I'm sorry, Zach, it does say. Very good. Tab 23, Sheriff's Office, Town of Funkstown Community Deputy Agreement and WCPS School Resource Officer MOU.
Thank you, President Barr. Zachary Kiefer, County Attorney. I've got two recommended motions for you today. I'll take each one in turn and present the relevant facts. The first one is, the recommended motion is to approve the Community Deputy Agreement between the Town of Funkstown, Washington County Sheriff's Office, and the Board of County Commissioners. The Community Deputy Agreement governs the terms and conditions under which the Sheriff's Office provides a community deputy to the Town of Funkstown. The agreement allows for the provision of law enforcement services within the town by the Sheriff's Office, and the agreement supplies one deputy to the town for a minimum of 16 hours per week. The agreement is for a one-year term with subsequent automatic renewals of 1 year. Similar agreements are in place with the towns of Williamsport, Clear Spring, Keedysville, and Sharpsburg. As far as fiscal impact, the town would be contributing $50,662 to the cost of employing and equipping the deputy. The sheriff and the Town of Funkstown have already executed this agreement.
Discussion? Motion? We have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. The second motion I have for you today is to approve the School Resource Officer MOU between the Board of Education, Sheriff's Office, and Board of County Commissioners. The School Resource Officer MOU governs the terms and conditions under which the Sheriff's Office renders special law enforcement services for public schools within the jurisdiction of the Sheriff's Office. The MOU provides for the assignment of full-time school resource officers to the Board of Education and placement at the Board of Ed, Boonesboro, Clear Spring, Smithsburg, and Williamsport school complexes. The fiscal impact to these agreements is the Board of Education will make quarterly payments equal to 25% of the yearly cost of each SRO's salary and benefits. The total FY budget amount for this MOU is an $873,710.01 for the SROs at the 4 complexes and the 1 supervisor. The Board of Education and Sheriff have also already signed off on these agreements as well.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item, tab 24, Interfaith Service.
we can go back to,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do we have a policy on finding?
I didn't recognize the bow tie. I'm sorry.
Do we have a policy for penalizing presidents of community colleges for not being around on time?
He's way.
we're early.
We're early.
Whoa, I stand corrected.
Do we have a-
Thank you very much.
I was texting and calling, so.
I learned my lesson.
I tried.
We're liable to get penalized for running early. Tab number 20, Partnership Agreement Paramedic Program. Morning, Dr. Klauber.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I was going to defer over to
Mr. Hayes, or Director Hayes, to give an explanation, but as you all know, a few years ago, we entered into an agreement to do this paramedic program together in a partnership, which has really worked out well for both, and we're real excited about it. But we went through our accreditation this past year, and they had some recommendations that we needed to put in our MOU, which we did, and we brought it here for you for your approval today.
So, and David Hayes, Director of Emergency Services.
And Kevin Lewis, Deputy Director, Division Emergency Services.
And Commissioners, as Dr. Klauber had indicated, really the purpose of today is to solidify the partnership and MOU and make it compliant with what our accreditation survey and site study had indicated. I did ask Director Lewis to bring a real brief 60 to 90-second summary of what the program has put out, the output of the program since its inception. So I'm going to turn it over to him, and I'll bring it back and give you the motion that we're looking to have passed today.
So as stated, like I say, we just held actually our first site visit by the accreditation committee and stuff like that for the program. And since we first started the first cohort, like I say, September 22nd, they graduated July 23rd. That class graduated 11 successfully. 9 are currently working within the county. The second cohort, which started in September 23, graduated in August of 24. That class graduated 12 with 10 working within the jurisdiction. And then the most recent cohort was September 3rd and graduated July 24th, and they graduated with 12, 10 currently working within the county and still functioning here with us. So as we look at the new program, as we enter into the joint venture and sign the new partnership, it basically allows us to be an open college enrollment, which provides us a lot of additional opportunities that we didn't have before when we were a closed system. So currently for the class 2604, which will be starting here in the latter part of September, would seat potentially 11 county and 5 external students, like say, and through a combination then availability of grants, scholarships, and other things by being recognized as an open program. So,
And
thank you.
I just wanted to point out that the split of 70-30, where the county retains 70% of the tuition and HCC retains 30% of the tuition, it recognizes the fact that this is a cost-sharing arrangement. HCC needs reimbursed for the work that they're doing, and then the county would be reimbursed for the work that they're doing.
And the college manages the admissions enrollment. They have a clinic. They have brought on a clinical coordinator that's handling all the clinical site agreements. So there is an investment from the college directly and indirectly, even through the affiliation. But I want to recognize Chris Amos, who's our educational programs administrator. He's a big reason that we were as successful as we were in our site survey, and Dr. Klauber's staff, and then Donnie Lehman, who's our lead paramedic educator. But really what we need is a motion to enter in a partnership agreement with Hagerstown Community College for the paramedic program, collaboratively administered between the Division of Emergency Services and Hagerstown Community College.
Motion to approve into that partnership.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor for approval as submitted. All in favor by say.
I have a comment.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. It just seemed like a few short years ago, this program was going to stop. And thanks to Dr. Klauber and you guys, we've reignited this program. It's become a feeder program to provide safety to the residents of Washington County in large numbers. So I applaud the building of the training center. I applaud each and every one of you for seeing the need for this. And this partnership demonstrates our willingness to work together to provide safety to our citizens of Washington County. So I couldn't be more proud today to sign and be part of this partnership with all of you that have done this. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Klein. If I can just comment, when beforehand, you know, those numbers of graduates, we would not have had those graduates in our program. We were, I think, trying to do something on our own, which did not turn out, it was not good, wasn't good for the college, wasn't good for the institution. But by partnering, we're able to provide more first responders for Washington County, which is awesome. And, we're able to share costs, and we're able to make it work, and we're able to have good enrollment. So that is, it really works out quite well. And so
That
we're
last
happy with that.
graduation class was special to watch the family and friends of those graduates and people walk across that stage, knowing what they're about to do for our community. So, very good. Thank you.
Okay. We didn't vote yet, did we?
No.
I can't motions.
You got a first and a second.
Yeah, I thought you said
Aye.
second.
Vote aye.
Yeah, okay, aye. Okay, ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're back to tab number 24,
Jerry Spencer, what's up?
Interfaith Service Coalition, Martha's House, Commissioner Contingency Funding Request, Michelle Gordon.
Good morning, or good afternoon.
Oh, wait a minute, Jerry, okay, Jerry's here for
I do have Jerry Spencer here
Okay,
from
I'm sorry.
Interfaith Housing Coalition. I'll kick off. I'll let him say hello.
Hello, how y'all doing?
All right, I'll kick it off. We're bringing forward to you a recommendation that the commissioners approve a request for funding from Interfaith Service Coalition in the amount not to exceed $39,000 for one-time expenses associated with the foundation repairs to Martha's House in Hancock, Maryland. Interfaith Service Coalition has provided staff with all requested documents, and a building and zoning permit was issued for their selected contractor on June the 9th of 2025. Staff does recommend that funds be dispersed on a reimbursement basis and will require that they submit proof of work for completed work from the contractor prior to payment. Martha's House is located at 49 West Main Street in Hancock, Maryland. Interfaith Service Coalition is working with officials to have Martha's House designated as the county's only warming and cooling station in Hancock. In anticipation of this designation, they have added solar panels, a gas generator to the property. They've also added a pull-down staircase that's been ordered earlier this year and will be installed on the side of the building leading up to the generator. During this designation process, it was discovered that there was a separation in the floor or the foundation area of the basement, ground floor of Martha's House. They did consult with a structural engineer to perform the repairs, and those repairs are currently underway. The south wall of the building is sinking due to washout and loose soil below the existing footer, and funding is needed to help underpin the south wall and stabilize the foundation and install those new footings on stable soil. Staff does recommend that these funds be dispersed on a reimbursement basis from Commissioner Contingency, and I'll open it up to Jerry Spessert if he'd like to add some comments.
Well, we greatly appreciate your assistance on this. It's been a real problem for us. We've had to shut down Martha's House almost all summer, which we hate to do. The project is taking a little bit longer than we thought. It was supposed to be finished 2 weeks ago. I talked to the contractor yesterday, and he's supposed to have it done in the next 3 weeks, which I certainly hope so, okay? Martha's House is a tremendous asset in Hancock. We cater to, I'm not joking, the poorest of the poor, and we have done everything we can to make sure that this is a good shelter in case of an emergency, so we do not rely on electric. We have solar panels, and we have a 30,000 plus generator to make sure that we can take care of the needs when it occurs. So I'm open for any questions you may have on that.
Jerry, did the overrun cause a price increase?
That's what's going to be.
It's actually going to be more than, yes. I just found out last night, it's going to cost even more, probably around $43,000 to $44,000. The reason is the crack in the basement was not part of the contract, which I thought it was. I wasn't privy to all of that. So we're going to have to hire someone now to come in and.
Seeing another 4,000 or 5,000.
Yeah. So I mean that's the way it goes, and we'll eat it. Okay?
Well, I'd like to ask the commissioners, John, we go up at least another 5,044 to help you cover that. You are being our shelter in the
Yes,
western part of the county, and that's important to the residents up there. So if there's an agreement, could we raise that? For
We can amend
Yeah, I'm
that.
okay with that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
I'd
you
make a
very much.
motion to amend it to
Appreciate that.
44,000, up to 44,000.
Right. That will cover us.
Okay, that's a motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor as amended. All in favor, ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you, Jerry.
Oh, thank you ever so much. Here's some almanacs for y'all, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Here you go, Michelle. If you need more, let me know. Thank you, y'all have a great day.
Thanks, Jerry. Thank you. Okay, tab 25, Hagerstown Regional Airport Advisory Commission appointments. Dawn, you're up.
Dawn Marcus, County Clerk. On behalf of the Hagerstown Regional Airport Advisory Commission, I am requesting a motion to appoint Aaron Vittini to serve a partial term through October 31st of 2026. This is not a paid board.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a second. Motion and second for approval. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, 5-0. Thank you. Next, item 26, Washington County Board of Social Services appointment.
Commissioners, on behalf of the Washington County Board of Social Services, I am requesting a motion to appoint Carrie Johnson to serve a partial term through June 30th of 2027, and to appoint Lieutenant Andrew Lewis to serve a partial term through June 30th of 2026. This is not a pay board. I want to note that there is a correction that is needed for the ARF for the term of Carrie Johnson, as I had 2028, and her term would be through 2027.
Okay. Motion? Discussion?
Motion.
Motion?
To approve?
Motion to approve with the correction?
Yes.
Okay. We have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you. Need a motion to go into closed session for the reasons stated.
Motion to go into a closed session for the reasons listed on the public announcement.
Yep. Second. Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor? 5-0. We're in closed session.